Hi, this is Naroki5. I am going to be doing this until I die or I find something better to do. So please help me achieve this personal and, I think, noble objective by contributing to my Patreon or Subscribestar. Link is down below. Every little bit helps. Thank you very much.
Try that again.
From the people who brought you. You know nothing. And be happy. Comes a brand new collection of hit songs from our beloved Supreme Leader.
Timelines presents The Great Here Set, Volume 14.
Everybody, jab your body light. Vaccines back all night. 1, 2, 3 and 2 and 4. Klaus, Schwab and Bill Gates is at the door. Ready to put a patent on air and gas, cause we're about to greatly set your ass. It's like this and like that and like this. Stand up, so just chill till the next pandemic. Digital identity. You should have until 2030. No discussion, for it is mandatory. You will see 50-minute city. 50-minute city, stay close to home. 50-minute city. 50-minute city, or we'll send our drone. You better comply. You better watch out. You better implant that microchip now. Santa Claus is running the town. Every meal you make, every bite you take, every single lunch with a crispy crunch, you will eat that box.
The Great Here Set, Volume 14. Get yours now. Available on Shopify and Pfizer Music.
I thought about starting. Oh yes, you will eat the bugs and be happy. I wanted to start out with the cocaine melody tonight, but that one, just when I listened to it, I just had to share it with the world. You know, I own half the world anyway, so you just have to agree that I'm musically brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah. Was that? Is time for the shitting? Or is it too early?
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, welcome to the Red Pill Nation, Hangout number 335. Happy to say that this is the first thing I've done all day today. I did nothing and was happy. I played computer games all day today, had a nap, ate, got up, and this is the first productive thing I have done all day today. And I'm going to I had to share that just to rub it in Bruce's face. V will be joining us in a few minutes, but Rearson, introduce yourself now that I've gloated over the fact that I can have a whole evening of peace and quiet, a whole day of peace and quiet before I got to do anything with no interruptions, but you don't. Go ahead.
Fuck you. And the horse you rode in on. That's fine. I don't know what else to say, but outside of the usual, no gimp suit today. Definitely no gimp suit, but knowing you, Envy, you'll find a reason to bring it in. I'm going to be letting you know I'm not sure if I'm going to be middle. I'm going to be out of the country if there are no travel restrictions brought down. For that wedding that I was telling you about, so I will keep you posted. And other than that, I'll be in a better mood. I don't know. I'm in a good mood. I'm just not in a jovial, comedic mood. But we'll see how that goes. So, was that What is the topic, Sid? Then when you get on your knees and start to shell. Or maybe not.
Okay, I will point out one thing before we start. Yes, I am aware of what is going on in Israel at the moment because I cannot fucking go anywhere on social media right now without somebody saying something about it. That will be for 336. I suspect it's going to be rather short with me because it doesn't seem to matter what side I pick, and I'm not picking a side on that particular topic. You end up losing. So, yeah, there's stuff going on there. People got killed. Not that I'm making light of it or anything like that, because apparently how it went down, and we'll probably get into this more when I get around to doing 336. Who's at fault, who's not at fault, everything else like that. You know what? It's just another round. Yeah, some rather suspicious stuff around it, but I mean, I'm gonna wait for the truth to get its pants on and start hopping around before I actually make a firm decision on what's going on or not. The mainstream narrative around that issue is very difficult to determine. For those of you who don't know, I am at Patreon as Niroki5. I'm subscribed star as the Red Pill Nation. I am at Odyssey, BitChute, Rumble, MGTOW TV, Bradeon. I do have a YouTube, and it will be down in the low bar if you want to sub. Everything that I've made since I got shut down the second time is there. That being said, I don't promote that channel anymore, although I have discovered something rather curious, and that is if I don't put any I don't put any of those highlights, so put any of those tags in, my stuff doesn't get noticed. So whoever it was that was trying to shut me down before was clearly focusing in on the tags. And because YouTube is burying my content anyway, it's a lot harder to find me unless you specifically type out what it is you're looking for. The topics tonight. One, Canadian government passed new restrictive law for podcasters in Canada. Topic number 2, Congressional House Speaker McCarthy is replaced. Don't know by who yet. Two leftists, Josh Kruger and Pava, LaPere, both killed by people they advocated for via criminal reforms. Marilyn Moseby is in the second case, Marilyn Moseby is the is one of the DAs specifically around Josh Kruger. Also, and I don't know this guy, but it's just very ironic. Democrat Congressman Henry Cuellar is carjacked. He was a really strong defund the police guy. We're starting to see more and more of that. Topic number 4, former LA Dodgers pitcher Trevor Bauer gets justice after fake Me Too accusation almost destroys his career. I might have a lot to say on that one. Topic number 5, YouTube censorship to be shut down by Supreme Court. That one is very interesting. Topic number 6, Robyn Hood Director, almost otherwise known as, and you're going to love this name, Director X, has meltdown over low ratings on IMDb, blames racism and the manosphere. Yeah. I'm going to have a lot to say. I am going to have a lot to say on that one. And topic number 7, FBI labels MAGA army as extremists. Hillary Clinton does interview and suggests that they need re-education. Yes, sir. Not really in the mood to have any of my commercial sponsors, so the commercial sponsors can all go. They can go to hell. I'll send them if they're missing. I'll send them I'll send them the George Soros, Klaus Schwab's greatest hits again.
I got a better idea. Why don't you just send them the purple dildo applicator? There we go.
Oh, the JM Purple Poker? Yes, that's right.
with a heavy dose of. But that's all for you.
Works well with Orange Man Bad, by the way. All right, so let's just get right into it tonight.
Not that you don't personally. At least I hope you don't. But you
I
know
don't.
what? That's. All right.
No, I don't. All right, so let's start out. All right, so this one is actually kind of serious, and I didn't have a chance to discuss it with Rearson before I came on the air. This one actually had a little bit more of an effect on me than I thought it was going to. That being the Canadian new podcaster law. It doesn't affect me directly. What it does do, however, is that it affects the people who supply the podcast, aka Rumble, Spotify, BitChute, whatever. Like anybody who makes over $10 million in income Canadian, which means that they just basically got to turn over a dime in the U.S. and they have to report themselves, has to register with the Canadian government in order to be available on Canadian on Canadian internet space.
Whoa. Sorry. So Joe Rogan would have to register. Otherwise, I'll have to use a VPN to see his stuff.
Possibly, yeah. They haven't ironed it all out, but that's the way it's.
Fuck. Oh God. Okay. This ties in really well with the intro that you played so well. Holy fuck.
The amount of lying and copium on Twitter by the mainstream media saying, "Oh no, that's not what's happening." It's like, yeah, that is what's happening. It is most definitely what's happening. I got to admit, because I'm not going to get too personal here. There's the day job, which for some reason didn't get a hold of me last week. And then there's this. So my backup plan is, I'm wondering how, well, we all wondering personally how my podcast is going to. Keep in mind, if I was making $10 million, trust me, I wouldn't be fretting about whether my employer is going to call me to dispatch me next week. Because I would be doing this full time. I am, from a personal point of view, I am now, for the first time ever, I've been putting off moving because I like it where I am. I like this neighborhood. I like the fact that everything that I need to get is within walking distance of where I live, right? And moving's a pain in the ass and blah, blah. On paper, I'm making enough money to do it, but it's sort of like, so I'm actually kind of a little annoyed that it might be decision day for me sooner rather than later. I may have to I'm going to have to start seriously considering. And by the way, I am even seriously considering leaving the country altogether, not just moving to the countryside. I've talked to an immigration lawyer probably on my next rotation through. There's a possibility that I might be able to get dual citizenship, and if I get dual citizenship, you know what, I don't see much reason to stick around at this point. But that's just me. It's very odd. It's this, and then it's going to be the I think there's another bill coming through which enables the government to label whatever it wants to on the net as misinformation. We already know what is going to be considered misinformation in Canada. And then there's another one on top of, so there's another couple of bills that are coming through. Jagmeet Singh is, even though it's a minority government up here, Jagmeet Singh is not doing sweet fuck all to stop any of this. He could make himself look like a hero right now by passing a by voting with the Conservatives on a non-confidence motion, but we all know that he's not going to do that. So, yeah, we might actually get stuck with Trudeau for a full 5 years before an election is called. It's the way it's looking right now is that the way it's looking in Canada right now is that Trudeau is attempting to, and also, by the way, by extension, this applies to foreign content, so anything based out of the United States. And it's also turning out that Google as well is seriously considering pulling the plug on Canadian content as well. So yeah, this is an attempt by Trudeau to basically try to monopolize the entire media apparatus as best he can. Wouldn't surprise me if they tried to come up with something where they try to ban VPNs at some point. And yeah, I do have a VPN. I don't usually use it, but I probably will have to start using it here sooner rather than later. Because to get informed about what's going on. But I mean, this is kind of personal for me, right? And with everything that's going on, like I may have to be. I'm kind of arriving at decision day for myself personally, and I think a lot of podcasters in Canada are at that point now, where like it's not just like looking at the exits and sort of half-assed making plans to head for the exits. It's like start making more active attempts to head for the exits. And I see that V has just jumped in at just the right time. So V, the current topic is the Canadian government passed new restrictive law for podcasters and podcast providers in Canada. And you hopped in just as I was getting done. So have at her.
Okay. Well, first off, V, host of the Red Pill Hardcore Radio Show. I am a integral part of TLBTalk.com, freedom of speech social network, where everybody should be at right now. And, well, you're talking to me my last day being here in Poland, as I'll be flying out tomorrow night back to the U.S., where I get to experience all the wonderful tyranny that we talk about on the shows that we do. Yes. So, how are podcasters being restricted?
Any podcaster that does more than $10 million of business in Canada has to register with the government. On paper, it's not supposed to shut anything down, but yeah, we already know that it will.
Well, okay, so you're talking about having, this would be like a Fourth Amendment violation if you were in the U.S., but yeah, I mean, listen, once the government starts counting your money, they're going to look at every and any way to sabotage. I know all about corporate espionage, government espionage. I know all about saboteurs. I know all about that kind of stuff. And I mean, the reason why, I mean, if you screw up on taxes, you screw up on this, screw up on that, As a podcaster, it really wouldn't be that big of a deal. And for a simple fact that you would have government be registered with the government, it gives them the right to basically look at anything that you do. You have no privacy as far as your finances. You have no privacy as far as how you run your company. You have no privacy as far as, I mean, anything really. And you're subjected to a whole another set of rules, if not many different systems of rules. It's sort of like paying taxes. As a regular citizen with a wage slave job, it's not that big of a deal. But if you become some corporate head with a big company, oh, you better watch how every penny is spent or earned, because there is some kind of rule or regulation that come down on you to destroy you. Now, as someone who has dealt with the federal government and still dealing with the federal government that still owes me a lot of money, and you're finding every excuse in the world not to pay me, it's just one of those things. I mean, you're safer. I don't know, what's a better analogy? You're better off walking down the street in white suburbia than walking through the middle of the Amazon or the jungle, right? They're putting you in the jungle where any beast can kill you, anything can poison you. Okay, so it's just one of those things. If you start talking that good stuff, start talking that revolution, and you're registered with the government, they're going to inject some kind of law that you've never heard of that's going to hem you up. And you have to become registered. I mean, they're not going to be bothering the little people, right? They'd have to enforce that law onto everybody, basically. Anything that's designed to hem you up is designed to hem you up specifically. So that's the thing about registering with the government. You are playing, you literally put yourself in a game where you're playing a game where the rules are going to be made up every day. And the rules are going to be made up against you every day. So this is how the tyranny creeps in. And the government has, because the government is very preemptive. Okay, they know where they're going to lose out. They know where their influence is going to wane. They know. So they have to get ahead of the game and be able to destroy something that they don't like. And that's what that's all about. So I didn't even have to know the whole story. You just told me a topic. Oh, I got it there for you. I've seen this kind of stuff happen all the time. But anyways, yeah, I'll go ahead and pass it to yours.
So when you're making 10 million, I'm going to assume that that's going to be Canadian. Again, we don't know to apply for someone like Joe Rogan or whoever else. Actually, in that instance, how would that work out? Because he's got a contracted salary for another, what, 6 years, 7 years, something like that. So I don't, and I think I'm going to need to address the elephant in the room as well. Is that $10 million going to be adjusted for inflation? Because I know there's an economic shitstorm coming down the pipe. It's going to be messy, to say the least. And will it get to the point of being Weimar Germany? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But what if that $10 million stays, and then we're walking around like Zimbabwe was doing, where you had how many millions and millions of whatever their currency was, dollars. I'll just call it dollars for the sake of use and expediency. But what if you're making $10 million with adjusted inflation? No, with that $10 million being set, and then inflation comes in, and we have hyperinflation. Well, guess what? I'm thinking worst case scenario at this point. Guess what? That means that the turd can look at almost anything that they want. You'll be pretty much restricted at that point. So, what you were saying before about immigrating out, I'll tell you how that works with the little bit that I know. So if you were to move to the States, you give up your Canadian citizenship, become an American, and then you have to reapply to be a dual citizen at that point. And I'll tell you right now, my friends, if I do that, and I want to do that, I ain't coming back. I am not coming back. Once you walk through that door, there ain't no turn. You can change your mind and whatever else, but that's what I wouldn't do. But that's just me. Now, and then once they do that, and of course, the vast majority of Canadians aren't going to even know about this, or they're not going to care about it. It's like, well, it's not my problem. Actually, it is your problem, because what's going to be next? Like, where will it stop? And that's a question that most people don't have. They won't ask. They won't. Oh God, most people can't think their way out of a wet paper bag right now if you freaking push them through. Let's be honest. So, more crap from the turd. That's all I got to say on that one. Fuck, I can't wait to get out of here. And Rocky, I will give the floor back to you.
Oh yeah. I'm a little bit conflicted about this because of my birthday and all. Here's the other possibility, given what's going on. If Trudeau keeps pushing on this, keeps doing what he's doing, I mean, like 3 of the 4 Western provinces, or at least 2 of them right off the bat, will just leave and join up with the U.S., especially if the Republicans win next year. So yeah, there's also that to consider. It's going to be an interesting time. I'm coming up to decision day. I didn't think it was going to happen quite this quickly, but because I mean, I got a job that I kind of like. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass when it comes to my internet reception right now. But other than that, I mean, it pays well and so on and so forth. So I mean, I would rather not have to lose that job and have to start all over again. We'll see. But let's just move on with the next topic here. The next topic is, well, we remember back when the Speaker of the U.S. Congress was up for debate, and there were these 8 members of Congress that were refusing to ratify Kevin McCarthy, and McCarthy and Gates met, and I'm guessing a deal was struck. And this is something that we're going to also, if you're Canadian, you're going to have to start thinking about when it comes to Pierre Poilievre, because Poilievre has been making all of the right noises, but is Poilievre going to actually do anything when he becomes prime minister? And let's just make it really obvious at this point, he is the prime minister in waiting. Without a doubt, like, Trudeau is not going to get reelected. And the NDP is going to be lucky if it gets a dozen seats the way things currently stand. So, The result was simple. There were some deals made. I don't know what all the precise details was, but one of the big ones was shut off the spigots, sending something like $123 million a day to the Ukraine to help them fight a proxy war against Russia. And they gave him, I'm not sure when this whole thing started with him, but I mean, he had probably like 6 to 10 months to actually live up to his word, and he, at least according to Matt Gaetz, he didn't do it. The whole situation was, well, I mean, it's like it's really simple. Just like how, quote unquote, the squad used to vote in blocks to frustrate Trump, this is the same sort of thing, except of course that these are the quote unquote these are the 8 congressmen that are not that it's registered with them, that it can't be politics as usual. Mr. McCarthy chose to practice politics as usual. I'm going to have to imagine that Matt Gaetz gave him plenty of opportunity to change his tune, and he didn't do it. So the entire Democrat caucus and the 8 Republicans held a non-confidence motion, and
on this vote, the yeas are 216. The nays are 210. The resolution is adopted. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. The office of Speaker of the House of the United States House of Representatives is hereby declared vacant.
Congressman Gaetz, if not McCarthy, then
Paralyzed the House of Representatives today. To whose benefit? People have called you a narcissist. People say that is to your benefit alone. Is it to the benefit of you and to Donald Trump?
It's the benefit of this country that we have a better Speaker of the House than Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy couldn't keep his word. He made an agreement in January regarding the way Washington would work, and he violated that agreement. We are $33 trillion in debt. We are facing $2.2 trillion annual deficits. We face a de-dollarization globally that will crush Americans, working class Americans. Kevin McCarthy is a feature of the swamp. He has risen to power by collecting special interest money and redistributing that money in exchange for favors. We are breaking the fever now, and we should elect a speaker who's better.
So if not Kevin McCarthy, then who? Then who?
You said last night that Steve Scalise was a name that you floated to potentially be speaker. Where do things stand right now? If not McCarthy, then who?
Well, the stages of grief, I think, are in progress right now with some of my colleagues. I think there was a stage of denial, and I've certainly experienced a good amount of their anger, and now we appear to be headed toward bargaining. I think the world of Steve Scalise. I think he'd make a phenomenal speaker.
We've got less than 45.
I'm afraid of $33 trillion in debt crushing the working people in my district. I'm afraid of the dollar losing its status as the global reserve currency. If they want to expel me, let me know when they have the vote.
We've got less than 45 days left before we've got less than 45 days left before you have to pass a budget, which is something that you've been wanting to do. Doesn't this just completely paralyze the House? I mean, we could see 15 more rounds.
I don't think we will. I think Kevin McCarthy should take a hint. After 15 ballots to become Speaker, after 8 months of a failed speakership, and after removal in this historic manner, I think we should move on and find somebody else. What's paralyzed the House of Representatives has been the failure of Speaker McCarthy. What paralyzed the House of Representatives was not taking up appropriations bills. We left for a 6-week vacation while the appropriations process hung in the balance. And because I forced these people to take a few votes, you think I'm paralyzing the House of Representatives? I think the House of Representatives has been paralyzed for the last several decades as we've refused to pass a budget and as we've governed by continuing resolution and omnibus bill. So I think that this represents the ripping off of the Band-Aid, and that's what we need to do to get back on track.
How do you pass anything if 200 Republicans? How do you pass anything?
Say to your colleagues
who argue you don't have another name right now. You don't have someone else who could get 218 votes. What do you tell those folks?
Well, I would tell them that for certain Kevin McCarthy can't get 218 votes, so let's try the next person.
How do you pass something with
pro tem, obviously?
There would have to be a real meeting of the minds there.
Congressman Gates, how do you pass something if there's 200 Republicans?
Somebody else has another question.
Are you going to ask for a guarantee from whoever is floated as a candidate for the next speaker for them to actually move the appropriations process along in a speed that satisfies you?
Yes.
Congressman, at this
So,
point,
will you be putting yourself forward for the speakership? Absolutely not. I have no desire to be Speaker of the House.
How do you pass, Congressman, with all due respect, how do you pass something if you don't have 200 Republicans behind you?
I know we've already asked about names, but what about Emmer and others?
I think the world of Tom Emmer. He'd make a great speaker.
Congressman, have you spoken with any of these?
Have you spoken with Scalise? Have you spoken with Emmer?
I've spoken with him, but I'll probably keep our conversations between us.
Congressman, take the speaker.
What was going through your head when the vote gavelled down and it was official McCarthy wasn't Speaker?
We got to move to the next step. You know, we are not at the end of this process, okay? At most, we're approaching halftime. We've got to be able to assemble a governing coalition. We have to build from a place of trust. The reason Kevin McCarthy went down today is because nobody trusts Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy has made multiple contradictory promises, and when they all came due, he lost votes of people who maybe don't even ideologically agree with me on everything. Take, for example, my colleague from South Carolina, Ms. Mace. She has different views than I do on a variety of subjects, but what we had in common, Kevin McCarthy lied to all of us.
Congressman, hold on a second. You're saying that nobody trusts Kevin McCarthy, but you're talking about, including yourself, about 7 Republicans compared to about 200 and about, some odd Republicans who actually do trust him. So can you kind of explain that here?
Well, as it turns out, getting 200 Republicans to trust you isn't enough to stay Speaker.
Compared to 7 Republicans
At this point, have you spoken to former President Trump about this since the ousting? Was he supportive of what you were doing?
I have spoken to President Trump over the last several days. The ousting only occurred several minutes ago, so we haven't spoken during that time.
President Trump, though, put on Truth Social that he didn't think this was a good idea. He didn't want to see Republicans fighting with other Republicans. How do you respond to the former president?
I would say that my conversations with the former president leave me with great confidence that I'm doing the right thing.
Did the former president call you today?
Americans who are concerned about the future of the conservative agenda in the House GOP.
I would say that the conservative agenda was being paralyzed by Speaker McCarthy. We hadn't even sent a subpoena to Hunter Biden. Our oversight was lackluster. Our spending priorities were misaligned. The top-line budget was going to lead to more inflation, more debt, more challenges. So the best way to advance the conservative agenda is to move forward with a new speaker.
So
what is the end game?
Are you going to require that any future speaker elected allows the motion to vacate to stay at a one-person threshold?
Yes.
Congressman Gates, would you
considering that Steve Scalise votes in line with Speaker McCarthy most of the time, why should he want the job after this just happened?
That's a question for him, I guess, not me.
He said he's uninterested. He's already said he's
I haven't heard him say that.
No, he's already...
What has he said to you?
Well, here's what I would say. Here's what I say. I think a lot of members are going to reflect on their thinking after this historic moment. I think anything that people have said before the McCarthy ouster is probably bearing less weight than the way people may be thinking about these questions after the McCarthy ouster.
What is the end game?
Comments about Steve Scalise yesterday and today. Will you yourself nominate Steve Scalise for Speaker of the House?
Maybe. I want to hear from him. I mean, I'm not here to make a judgment on where Mr. Scalise stands with his rehabilitation and recovery. I would give him the deference to be able to decide whether or not he'd like to put himself forward as a candidate, but he'd be the type of person that I could see myself supporting.
McCarthy, and I don't, apparently according to this, it hasn't, the speaker hasn't been removed from the Congress. From the congressional seat in, it didn't happen. Apparently it didn't happen at all in the 20th century. So in fact, this might be the first time ever that it's happened. The speaker is a very powerful position in, hold on a second, I'm starting to get a scratchy throat here. It's a very powerful position in the United States because he is basically the number 3 person in the country. If the president and vice president were somehow killed or incapacitated, the Speaker of the House would then step in and assume the role as president, and then there's just basically a series of secretaries past that. It's a well-established system as to who's in charge, and basically, you know, so we're talking about a guy who might potentially have his finger on the nuclear football. Yeah, the only thing I can say about this is, I mean, oh yeah, there is what there. I'm surprised at the number of conservatives and Republicans that are kind of pissed off about this, and it's like, you know, even a lot of, like, say, Lauren Shen and a few in conservative podcasters down in that have spoken about this. A lot of them are actually kind of pissed off about this. It's like sort of like, well, you're aware of the concept of the rhino, right? Like Republican in name only. Chinos here in Canada, conservative in name only. Andrew Scheer, Chino, the Sino, or whatever you want to call them. They, you know, and Kevin McCarthy chose to be a rhino. I think this group of 8 members of Congress with the Republicans are sending a message to the next speaker. It cannot be politics as usual. Just like in Canada, when they finally do call the next election, it cannot be politics as usual up here either. But yeah, sorry, Mr. McCarthy, you did this to yourself, and you have only yourself to blame. And with that, I'm going to go get some more tea, and I'm going to turn it over to V.
Yeah, well, those rhinos and name only. Wow. Yeah. I mean, you're going to have everybody in the spectrum, right? I don't know. I'm not too opinionated on Canadian politics. But I'll say I'm glad that, well, I hope that Trudeau doesn't get back in anywhere. He's done a lot of damage, right? And if he does get back in office,
US.
I'm sorry.
Okay, sorry, Via. Don't want to step on you here, but I think we're talking about Kevin McCarthy having been kicked out. So that's the U.S. Speaker of the House.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, okay. Well, you guys always throw me off bringing in Trudeau, because that's what that's as far as I can tell the next Hitler.
He's doing a good job. Anyway.
Yeah, well, it's Speaker of the House. You know, listen. I'm just wanting to see who gets into office 2024. If it's gonna be Trump, if it's gonna be somebody else. I mean, because with everything that's going on, with the way that this man has been persecuted, Trump, the way he's been attacked and persecuted and set up, and while Biden gets to get away with all his crimes, his money laundering, through his 20 shell companies, you know, family members are getting rich and richer every day. That, like, you know, I kind of, I mean, that's where my focus is. Speaker of the House, all this stuff, that doesn't show up on my radar. But that's and really, there's going to be so much distraction. There's going to be a lot of political distraction in either case. So I don't know. Not too much to add to this one. Just I don't know. So that's why I'll pass it on to you, Mercy.
Alrighty. Well, the funny thing with the Speaker of the House is that normally, traditionally, it's going to be filled by someone within Congress. There's nothing in the procedures, the proceedings, how it's done, whatever phrase you want to use, to say that it has Congress. Trump's already been nominated, or his name's already been brought up for Speaker of the House. And here's what I think is going to happen. When Trump was still in office, my opinion is that he warned us that Biden is going to be the 25th Amendment. He's not mentally fit for the job, blah, blah, blah. So I've been waiting for that to be fulfilled. Now, I will fully admit that when Biden, quote, won, unquote, I kind of lost it. But then it took me about a week to realize, no, and I realized that Kelso would roll his eyes at me, but I have to trust the plan. And the plan is that this is all being done. It's all staged. So, no, the high likelihood, and Biden, the guy playing him, because that's really what he is, Biden has been showing that he's not there, or he's in the beginning stages of mild to moderate dementia. I mean, the guy's been acting like a absolute idiot. He falls over. He trips on stairs going up planes. All of that kind of shit.
Oh yeah, did you see the recent gropings of that lady on stage with her? I don't know. She had some kind of animal. I don't know what that whole thing was about, but she's on stage talking about she's powerful now, and she literally gets chased off of the stage with Biden trying to grip her waist. She's like kind of just like trying her best to get the hell away from him.
Thinking she might be a lot younger than she is. I don't know. I'm not surprised. If he isn't the sniffer in chief, he'd be the groper in chief. Just ask his daughter. Anyway. Anyway, from Calgary to Washington, D.C. You're welcome, Joe. You're welcome. Anyway. So my opinion will be is that he's going to be taken out. He'll be removed as POTUS because he's mentally incompetent. Kamala, she may be a U.S. citizen, but she don't qualify to be president because she wasn't born here. And her father, I think, her parents were not naturalized citizens or something to that effect. I can't remember exactly what it is. So that wiener gobbling hyena laughing thing is out of the question. And I'm of the opinion that McCarthy looks like he's got a silicone mask on. Sorry to say, but that's kind of where things are. I think that he, as an individual, was heavily compromised a long time ago. Can it be any worse than Mitch McConnell? Any worse? You'd have to be John McCain. So, and having listened to a couple of other truthers, what they have been saying is that America has to have a near-death experience. The country there yet, but it's pretty damn freaking close. Like, it's really getting there. So it's going to be interesting. And now, what happens in the States, will make its way through to Canada fairly quickly. I mean, what crosses between borders is basically 70% of our GDP, is 70% of the GDP from both countries. So America relies on, shall we say, the raw goods, the material of Canada, and we rely on the manufacturing process overall for things to move between the two of us. Now, I'm pretty sure there are more than a handful of people that I know that would just say, "Oh, it doesn't matter what happens." Actually, it does. How many people, Hiroki included, lost their job in one form or another because the Keystone Pipeline was shut down? A lot of people in Alberta have not forgotten that and won't forget it. Much like the Northern Gateway, and there was another project that I would think that was going out to Kitimat. I could be wrong, for a natural gas line. I think the one
that was the Northern Gateway to Kitimat. Yeah.
Oh, that was? Okay. Okay. There was another one. Oh, no. There's another one that was fucking going through Canada, and it would have gone through Montreal, but the Montreal mayor just kind of said that, no, I don't think that this is what we want to do, so we're going to say fuck off.
Well, here's the really ironic part about this. They have discovered, and apparently there's a huge reserve of natural gas sitting between Montreal and Quebec City. On paper, it might even be enough to take Quebec off the equalization plan, and they are refusing to develop it.
Of course they would. There's nothing better than... Okay. You want to talk about socialism at the extreme. The amount of resources that Quebec has that they could tap into, it would make the province incredibly wealthy, but no, they're happy to suck the blood out of the rest of the fucking country so that way they don't have to work. It's just a bunch of fucking women, really. I mean, you think about it, it really does. Anyway, but get to the topic. Getting back to this topic. Yeah, I see McCarthy stepping down, and don't be surprised if things happen to Nancy Pelosi, someone like Dan Crenshaw, whoever else. But that's where I think it's going to go. And like I said, Kamala Harris, bitch ain't go. That's the highest the bitch is ever going to go. Like she can't go any further than where she is. Yeah, that's my level of that's my set of expectations. So, Hiroki, back to you.
Yes, back to me. Just a quick little reminder here for everybody.
You know nothing. And be happy.
Comes a
nothing, then be happy now.
Selection of hit song.
Oh, nothing. Be happy.
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
All right. So the next topic. Oh, this one is actually kind of fun. And I don't mean fun because I don't want to celebrate people getting murdered. But, Josh Kruger, the first guy we're talking about here, because there's three of them here. One of them was is a Democratic congressman. Josh Kruger, of the three of them, I think Josh Kruger is probably the most despicable of the three. Lived in downtown Philadelphia. Would see what has happened because he lived in downtown Philadelphia. He would see what was going on in Philadelphia, in downtown, on a daily basis and continuously. I mean, when I took a look, when I actually downloaded photos of the guy, he's got that kind of like wide-eyed, kind of like, if in another walk of life, he's probably obsessively stalking his ex-girlfriend kind of look to him. But I mean, yeah, he not only would he not accept the reality of the situation of the city that he lived in, but he would openly shout down anybody who said different, and would double like online, would get into some rather nasty, vicious spats with people online, including one, and this is ironic because I'm going to have to actually find this tweet, and I'm going to have to use it in the slideshow. The Dilbert creator said, the Dilbert creator like literally said, the way you're acting, man, you'll probably be dead by the time the next election comes
if he were
around.
alive today, I'm sure he wouldn't even be talking about it. I'm sure if this was somebody else, if this was another one of his comrades, he would be saying that it still doesn't prove that there's some crime problem. So in his own vision, his life was just the price to pay for colonialism or something. That's what I'm sure that he wouldn't want it any other way. I'm sure now that he's dead, he wouldn't want it any other way than for his life, his slain body, to be seen as a small sacrifice to compensate for historical wrongdoings by his ancestors. Well, now he's dead.
And that is exactly what happened to him. Now, it was like, I don't know all of the details. Apparently, this wasn't just a random act of violence. This appears to have been something that was premeditated. So it's not, again, I don't know enough about Josh Kruger to say that this was, but apparently this was the person who killed him was known to him in some form of capacity or another. Obviously I'm not super familiar with Josh Kruger. I will say though, the irony of what happened around him. And again, of the three people we're going to be talking about in topic number 3, he's probably the least likable, and potentially also, and this is part of the reason why, I mean, when I get back to topic number 1, I'm talking about like heading for the fucking exits, right? Like, there's still people out there who seem to think that we can wake up the sheep, and it's probably time to stop trying to wake up the sheep. And it's probably time to either wake up the lions and get yourself into a spot where you cannot be harmed by the shit that's about to hit the fan. Because yeah, the shit is about to hit the fan. I haven't been bringing up, for instance, in where I live, I have not been bringing up the fact that Guilbeault, the energy minister, has been basically trying to hammer a square peg into a round hole in terms of the energy policy, and basically putting as much pressure as he can on Alberta to get off of natural gas and coal-fired power plants. And I mean, that if they were to shut all those down, I mean, if you were living in a state, for instance, my heating bill is not particularly expensive, but even if you quadruple mine, it still would be like $160. I'm be paying $160 a month just to heat my apartment if they did what they did. And that is unacceptable, and the government isn't listening. This is the same sort of thing, right? Like Josh Kruger is one of those people that just was not going to listen. You know, you do it his way, or you're a istaphobe or whatever. You know, I don't know enough about the guy to say good riddance, but I mean, based upon some of the footage I've seen of him and some of even some of the photos, I mean, this was not a guy strongly based in reality. So yeah, he kind of, again, I get that victims of crime don't like being told that they did it to themselves, but I have a personal suspicion that he did this to himself. The second person involved is a person by the name of Pava LaPere. Now, she ran a tech company out of Baltimore. She lived in downtown Baltimore. And yeah, she was a victim of a random attack, a felony murder. Now, Pava LaPere, though, was really big on wokeism, critical race theory, not hiring whites, that type of thing, and would publicly talk about it and boast about it and talk about white male privilege and all of those other things, right? What happened with her is that she got to her place, and she's a multimillionaire. Is that somebody followed her, and he pretended that he had lost his keys. So Pava LaPere went back and let him in, thinking that he actually lived there, and she got viciously murdered and robbed. Now, that one is definitely more of a tragedy. But again, right, she lived in Baltimore. She has a little bit of influence. She could have done something about the situation, and instead she chose to propagate it. By the way, we are actually going to have, because Joe Rogan, like, I couldn't add it in because we're at 7 topics for this week. Joe Rogan openly called San Francisco a failed state this week. I didn't want to add it in. It is tentatively on the docket for 336.
That's where I'm flying into in a couple days. San Francisco.
It's a fail. Yeah. Joe Rogan basically said San Francisco is, for all intents and purposes, a failed state.
San Francisco? Yeah, that's about right. Yep. When there's an app for you to where you can avoid the minds of shit on the street, you've got a problem.
Oh, well, I saw the shit map. Anyway, yep. So, yeah. Victim, and the thing is that both of these happened so close together. And this on top of, and we didn't cover this one, that other Minnesota alderman in Minneapolis who got violently carjacked and started whining because that she didn't have access to the police. And it's like, oh yeah, that's right. You defunded the police, remember? So the last person, though, is Henry Cuellar, and he got carjacked in D.C. Henry Cuellar is one of those leftist Democrats, ban the police, defund the police, critical of law enforcement, whatever. And of course, right, victim of carjacking, went on air, publicly complained about it, and it's like, yeah, well, much like that woman in San Francisco we talked about a couple weeks ago. And I mean, it's different because, I mean, it's kind of funny how, when we get into topic number 4, I will bring this up more. Henry Cuellar is being told to shut the fuck up and just suck it up and get a helmet, right? Now, that woman who pulled that victim crap a few weeks ago in San Francisco and was told under no uncertain terms, is like, yeah, hey, you voted for this. There were actually people on the conservative side. There were guys on the conservative side actually white knighting for her. Nobody's doing that for Cuellar. And I suspect this is not going to be the last time we're going to hear about something like this. But with that, I'm going to turn it over to V.
Again, not too opinionated on this one. Everybody's got their point of views, and well, I do want to say one thing though. For these people who are defund the police type people, I'm not judging. I'm one of them. I'm gonna be. I'm pretty sure gonna be having my lawsuits against police departments when I start constitutional auditing. Suing the hell out of these police departments. But if you're gonna be defund the police, then follow through with that. Follow through. Buy a gun. Buy a gun. Seriously. Because if you're gonna not have be wanting to fund your own protection, I understand that. These corrupt cops and all that, I understand, but don't be talking trash about the police for not helping you. Yeah, I mean that's a no-brainer. So that's a no freaking brainer. You can't be a wussy complaining about everything. That's the problem with these damn Zoomer liberals. I mean, they complain about everything. Their whole lives are double standards. No, you got to make a choice about something. You got to go one way with something. You got to have a start to have an ending. You can't just complain about how everything is not making you happy. So let's get that out there. But this guy that you're talking about, I don't know much about either. I'm not sure. I'm not up on this news. I'm really not. But I would like to hear more about it here in the future, and definitely I want to hear what Rearson has to say.
Fucking idiots. I'll take this in a slightly different direction. I've said it before and I'll say it again, and this really is a prime example, just working in a funny, karmic way. And I was listening to Aaron Cleary about this earlier today, and voted for this. But well, you voted for that too. Defund the police. Police are basically telling you to go pound salt. Well, guess what? You voted for that. Fucking idiots. Just absolute morons. But again, it was Malcolm X that said the worst, the most dangerous thing for the black man is a white liberal. And apparently one of them was actually killed, was involved with BLM, I believe, and if I can quickly remember this, ended up being killed by a black person. I'm not suggesting that anybody should do it. I don't condone. I'm not going to necessarily piss on the person's grave, even though it's not buried yet, at least at the time of this recording. But this is what you get with brainwashed idiots that have no grip on reality. Now, the best way that I can think of dealing with, shall we say, racism, or shall we say skin color differences, because that's really what it is. Because if we were of different races, again, I'm going to say this, I wouldn't have my son. I'll say it that way. I wouldn't have him. As a species, and that's what we are. We have different subspecies, the ethno regions of the world where things were when everybody was basically concentrated in whatever they were. I mean, fuck, I can pretty much spot an Ethiopian or a Somali person just because of the way that because of their skin tone and their general facial structure. I can pick out a Filipina or a Filipino, someone from the Philippines. I can usually pick out someone who's Japanese, and if I'm not sure, they're probably Korean. Now, that's my experience of having lived in Banff, in the Bow Valley, and to go through and to have experienced the tourist hospitality, summer hospitality, especially in the hotel industry. Now, I'm not saying that I don't support to some degree or another what these people wanted to work on on the surface of trying to improve things for other people. The problem is you will always have very ambitious people. I include V in that category. You have a lot of ambition and you're working towards it, and you'll realize it. And when it comes to you, I'll be happy for you. Now, am I going to be there kind of going, so V, can you help me out, man? You know, it won't be like that. I mean, if there's something that I can do to help support you with whatever your ventures are, or you think that I'd be a good fit, sure, we can talk. Am I going to come to you at the door? So I'm just going to go, hey, V? No, I'm not going to do that. On the other end, you're going to have the people that are just so lazy that they don't want to do anything. And this is across the planet, no matter which country you're in. You're always going to have your people that are going to be in the middle class. You know, they're going to go to job that they probably don't like, and whatever else. But they're going to be productive. And then the third category of people are going to be those of the more political stripe that are just they are in their own reality. And I think that the three of us can agree that the best way for a business to be able to develop but grow and to remain relevant is that you need to have the most qualified people. Now, I don't care what color skin they have. I don't care as well. This really is more of a concern for me. But if you can have a level-headed woman that will be able to make tough business decisions, then yeah, sure, put her in there. But if she's going to be subjected to the raging hormones of a woman, oh, V, I got something here for you. Back when we were talking about what women want, or what a woman wants, that movie with Mel Gibson in it. I've come up with why women don't know what they want. And it's how close they are to either the feast, which is when they're fertile and ovulating, or just when most normal guys don't want to go there, if you know what I mean. So their decision making is likely to be influenced depending upon where things are in that between the feast and the famine, or the famine and the feast. So I know, controversial, deal with it, but most women won't. They'll be pissed off with me saying it that way, but they know I'm right. And I know I'm right. Anyway. But these people ended up getting really what was coming to them. Now, were they targeted? Well, maybe with the one. But I cannot help but taste, there's a really, really strong flavor of irony with what's happened here. Now, with the guy in DC that's still alive and went to assume that he's still alive, he went to the police, and the police go and basically was like, well, hey, you ended up helping, so we're not really going to work with you. Too bad, so sad. The question will come down to is, will he change his mind? Will he change his tune? Will he actually go deeper within himself to ask, well, why did they basically tell me to go fuck off? I'm hoping that he's going to have a change of heart. I'm hoping he's going to realize, maybe this wasn't such a good idea. Now, if he's like most women, I don't think he's going to. I would be surprised if he did. Let me put it that way. I would be very surprised if he did. And maybe he will. Probably not, but maybe he will. So, I'm kind of, no, it's not shock. And it's not, I'm not in awe, but I'm just kind of going, And I think the effect of this will not make its way through to people that are, and especially the white liberals. I don't think this will make its way through to the white liberal collective brain fog to realize that, this is, maybe we might need to maybe change how we think or what we're doing things here, because I don't see it happening. So, in terms of their death and with it being what it is, honestly, it is what it is, or it was what it was. And if they, I just wonder, for their last moments of life, when they kind of thought maybe what I was doing wasn't such a good idea, or something to that effect. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling at this point. So let's move on.
Thank you very much, Rearson. Yeah. No, there's been a very heavy duty load of irony in this particular situation. Yeah, they vote to defund the police. The police go away. The crime situation gets worse, and more of their own people end up becoming victims of the crime. And then they start crying about lack of law enforcement. And it's like, well, sorry, you did it to yourself. You voted for this, To quote Candace Owens, I'm going to, because I've seen this on Instagram quite a bit lately. Life's tough. Get a fucking helmet. That's what she was saying to this one trans activist. Well, what do you say to the people, members of the trans community, this university, who are traumatized by your presence here? And like Candace Owens is like, and she's pregnant again, right?
Yep.
So she looks at the person and says, "You know what? I'm too goddamn pregnant for this. Life's tough. Get a fucking helmet."
And what was I saying before about hormones? Anyway. Oh my God.
Well, I mean, I saw. I didn't see the whole thing, but I mean, I saw points on it. She's pregnant, like she's very pregnant, like it would probably somewhere. She's in the last trimester from the looks of things. She's traveling a lot, so it's putting a lot of stress on her on top of the pregnancy. And I'm not saying this to be a sympathetic simp or whatever, right? But I mean, and she's already got a toddler running around the house where she lives, right? And now she's going to have
two kids.
And now she's going to have two.
She's already got two. She's already popped out two kids.
No, this is her second.
So this is her third. She's got a 2-year-old, a 1-year-old, and now this one on the way.
So 2 toddlers and a baby. So yeah. No, I mean, keep in mind she's got financial resources, so I mean she can kind of like pay to get some extra assistance to help her out in that particular situation. But still, though, I mean, two toddlers running around the house, diapers, and all of the issues that occur with having kids, which Rearson knows all about just having one. And you've got you've got an active full media career going on, and you're pregnant with a third. And it's like, because I saw this is what happened to, this is what happens. You just sort of like, I mean, I don't know, because it didn't happen to me, and it probably won't happen to me. But you just, at some point, you're just kind of like, like, deal with the important stuff and let the minor shit just fucking slide, right? Unless it's really important that you deal with it, right? And it's, same thing, right? And it's like, yes, you get these special snowflakes that are just out of fucking high school and can't figure out what fucking gender they are screaming at her. And it's sort of like, yeah, fuck, whatever, right? Like, you don't fucking know. Life's tough. Get a fucking helmet, right? Anyway, let's move on to the next topic, because I might actually be on this one for a while, because there were a whole bunch of issues tied up into this that weren't actually, that don't act. Oh, look at what just crossed my Twitter feed. The NHL today just posted up openly that they're not even going to allow rainbow tape on the players' sticks, right? So the the gay community is just freaking right out right now, because they yet another blow against their agenda, right? Like, there's, as we all know, there's a shit ton of players, but I am talking specifically about a guy by the name of Trevor Bauer.
Star pitcher for the Dodgers. A text Lindsey Hill sent to a friend before she ever even met me. "What should I steal?" she asked another, in reference to visiting my house for the first time. The answer? Take his money. So how might that work? "I'm going to his house Wednesday," she said. "I already have my hooks in. You know how I roll." Then, after the first time we met, "Net worth is 51 mil, she said. "Bitch, you better secure the bag," was the response. But how is she going to do that? "Need daddy to choke me out," she said. "Being an absolute whore to try to get in on his 51 million, read another text. Then, after the second time we met, former Padres pitcher Jacob Nix told her, "You got to get this bag." "I'll give you 50,000, Lindsey replied. Her AA sponsor asked her at one point, "Do you feel a tiny bit guilty?" "Not really," she replied. Since then, her legal team has approached me multiple times about coming to a financial settlement. But as I have done since day one, I refuse to pay her even a single cent. In August of 2021, Lindsey Hill's claims were heard in court. And during those legal proceedings, critical information was deliberately and unlawfully concealed from me and my legal team. Information like this video, which was taken by Lindsey Hill herself the morning after she claimed she was brutally attacked, emotionally traumatized, and desperate to get away from me. And now we have the metadata, so there can be no dispute. It was taken mere minutes before she left my house on the morning of May 16th, 2021, without my knowledge or consent, of course. In it, you can see her lying in bed next to me while I'm sleeping, smirking at the camera without a care in the world, or any marks on her face. I think it paints a pretty clear picture of what actually happened the evening of May 15th and why the video was originally concealed from us. After hearing the evidence available to her, Judge Diana Gold-Saltman found that Lindsey Hill had misled the court. She found her claims to be materially misleading. She denied her request for a domestic violence restraining order, and she found that no sexual assault or non-consensual conduct took place. Now, some of you might not know about restraining order hearings. I know I didn't, but I've since learned that it's extremely rare for a request for a restraining order to be denied because the standard of proof that you need to obtain one is extremely low. So you can make of that what you will. The fact is, I was never arrested. I was never charged with a crime, and I won the only legal proceeding that took place without my side of the story even being heard. And most importantly, as I've said from day one, I never sexually assaulted Lindsey Hill, or anyone else for that matter. So I sued her, which prompted her to countersue me. Quite frankly, regardless of the outcome in court, I've paid significantly more in legal fees than Lindsey Hill could ever pay me in her entire life. And I knew that would be the case going in. But the lawsuit was never about the money for me. It was the only way for me to obtain critical information to clear my name. The discovery process in that lawsuit recently concluded, at which point Lindsay Hill's legal team again came to us with another proposal to resolve the case. This time, however, they weren't seeking any money from me. Having received much of the information that had been hidden from us, a small portion of which I've referenced here, I was willing to agree to the terms proposed. Both parties would drop their respective lawsuits, and neither of us would pay either side any money. I also retained my right to speak publicly about the case, something I have not been at liberty to do since June of 2021. So, as of today, both lawsuits have been settled. Now, over the last 2 years, I've been forced to defend my integrity and my reputation in a very public setting, but hopefully this is the last time I have to do so, as I'd prefer to just remain focused on doing my job, winning baseball games and entertaining fans around the world. So today, I'm happy to be moving on with my life.
I like to slap and pull a hair and do this and that. Let's just be real. I mean, we all like to have a little fun. Did he cross the line? What happened? I mean, how does it go from kind of playful, fun stuff to assault? What can you say and how can you describe the situation?
Yeah, it's actually something, for 2.5 years I have been testifying on and, explaining things away. Every text message, the video, it all has an explanation.
Well, those text messages are bad, though. Lindsay, you keep bringing the text, and I don't even want to, totally kill you on these texts, but as a person that, listen, these texts, let's look at right here. What does that mean? Next victim, star pitcher for the Dodgers. That's text one. That's kind of bad, Lindsay. What is that? I mean, I know you're saying this is no context, and I'm sure you're being sarcastic. I'm guessing. I mean, but what the hell does that mean, next victim?
Yeah, and this is, exactly what Trevor wanted to do, was random pick 3 or 4 texts and weave it into a narrative where I just look horrible. But so, when I explained that and in my deposition and different things, I'm like you. I like to joke. I'm very sarcastic, sometimes inappropriate. Anyone who knows me will know that. And these are private, text messages with my friends. And agreed, victim is not the word there. But what my past, I've been involved with other baseball players. That was my world at the time. And it was a funny way, I had already dated baseball players. And it was a funny, sarcastic way to say, oh, here's the next one, that I'm going to try to get attention from. And it was a lot of ego and, attention-seeking behavior, which is what I can own. And what he can't do is own any part. But I can totally own the attention-seeking behavior. But these texts, in a grand scheme, don't address what happened at all. This was before any of, our interactions or anything like that.
So what happened though? So in the next text he says, "I need daddy to choke me out." Then the third one it says, "Being an absolute whore to try to get in on his 51 million." And I have to be honest, when I read these text messages, I get a little sexually aroused. But I think that's just because I'm insane. But I mean, what happened? He choked you out. He beat you up because in that one video you were smiling after it. So and you sent me that one phone call that we can't play. He did admit that he hit you in the phone call. He said that. He said yeah, but he said it was consensual. So it's like, I mean, he said, she said at this point, right? So what happened in your opinion?
Totally. I think there's several points I can hit on. Those other text messages, just to address those other horrible ones that are just horrifying to be read out loud too. But I think...
Now, what happened with Trevor Bauer is that when he went and got, well, I don't necessarily think he went and got involved with a woman. Some woman specifically targeted him for a false accusation, and he got removed from. He wasn't kicked. He wasn't quote unquote removed from Major League Baseball. But I mean, he was more or less. I mean, his contract was bought out, and he was asked politely to leave. Now there were a couple of individuals, and of course he did. He had the financial resources, so he went over to play baseball in Japan. Fortunately for him, he signed up with you again, but he had the financial resources to fight back. Now, his accuser, who I believe his name is Melissa Hill, tried really, really hard, and I do mean really, really hard. Really hard to extort money out of the situation. Fortunately, Trevor Bauer, because he's still playing baseball, he's playing for Yokohama in the Japanese league. He has the financial resources to fight it, and he just said, no. Go, Melissa, you're going to go pound sand, and you're never getting a penny out of me. And he kept pushing for discovery. And, of course, the lawyers, he did it in such a way that they eventually had to get to discovery to figure out what happened. And, of course, once discovery came out, his accuser, Melissa Hill, first, there was a video of her getting really massively, fanatically drunk at a concert and being escorted out. There's also a video of her the day after the accusation came out, and she had all these bumps and bruises and whatever. There's a photo of her lying in bed next to Trevor the next day with none of these bruises and so on and so forth. The whole thing got exposed. Melissa Hill, other than having, and Melissa Hill actually appeared on Primetime Stein to try to explain all of this away. And it was like sitting there watching her, she doesn't even look panicked or concerned whenever she's doing an interview, right? She just she more or less tried to get this guy thrown into jail because he wouldn't, quote, play ball that way. And there's nothing, and there's no, from what I saw when the highlights I saw from the Primetime Stein interview, she didn't even look remotely concerned about it. Didn't bother her in the least. Now, here's the other part on this and this also happened to Johnny Depp. And I got to point out, indeed, if DDJ was on tonight, he'd probably have a lot to say on this. For every guy who has the financial resources to fight it, there's probably 1,000 guys that can't. You had a sports reporter by the name of Sarah Spain, who was openly, with zero proof, other than what Melissa Hill said to you. So this is one reporter named Sarah Spain, who was openly calling for Trevor Bauer to be permanently banned from baseball on an accusation with zero proof to back it up. And she, of course, didn't own up to it after she's been caught. I've been over to her Twitter profile. There's been no acknowledgement of the situation at all. But yeah, she was openly, with zero proof of anything, was openly and loudly voicing the fact that Trevor Bauer needed to be kicked out of Major League Baseball permanently. There was another and again, I don't want to start bringing gender into it. There's another female reporter named Molly Knight. Now, Molly Knight was even worse than Sarah Spain. Sarah Spain is just this narcissistic bitch who just doesn't care and will just print anything just for the headlines. Molly Knight, however, knowingly engaged in deceitful journalism. Molly Knight had access to the medical report that Melissa Hill had to make. So both her and the people that she worked for knew that the whole thing, that there was no cracked skull, there were no injuries, there was no whatever, there was no basis to file criminal charges, which was why no criminal charges got filed in this case. She saw that report and she she went with the accusation on Trevor Bauer and ran that story anyway. I will point out right now that Molly Knight's profile is currently locked. Sarah Spain's profile. Oh, look at that. It didn't say she blocked me. Apparently she didn't like me calling her out.
What did you do?
I just told her, it's like, yeah, well, if you're gonna engage in, I wasn't polite about it. If you're gonna engage in false accusations with any proof, I don't want to be around you when karma comes knocking on your door. But yeah, she blocked me. Oh, poor little baby. She could dish it out, but she can't take it. So both of these people, and of course there were also, even though Trevor Bauer got exonerated, like completely exonerated, several places ran news stories that, even though he'd been exonerated, the way they wrote the story up, they made it sound as though he was still guilty. For me personally, you want to know what really stands out about this particular situation is the fact that, she couldn't, they were quite willing to throw this. This is part of the reason why MGTOW has been taking off like a rocket, is because of these stories. Even when they're exonerated, people still think. I mean, we covered this. Remember that whole petition that got signed by by all the prominent members of the National Organization of Women, including Gloria Steinem, basically saying that that, oh no, she's innocent, right? So yeah, Molly Knight has her tweets for Sarah Spain, even though I didn't actually reply to Sarah Spain, probably blocked everybody that called her out for what she did on it. But yeah, this is the issue. And this is part, like when I talked about this last week with the conservatives attacking the manosphere. And by the way, there's going to be another guy who went off on a bullshit rant about the manosphere here, 2 topics down the road. It's things like this, like Melissa Hill. And I mean, apparently, this is something I discovered out of this particular situation. Melissa Hill, I'm of the opinion that if a woman falsely accuses somebody of rape, and that guy goes to jail and is later on exonerated for the crime, the woman gets charged with a crime. And she does the exact same amount of jail time that he did if he got sent to jail. If nothing happens, then said woman would then have to face a criminal charge with the same sort of penalties that the guy was facing on his alleged rape charge. That's my point. Apparently, I found out via this that I'm not the only person who feels this way about false accusations. Everybody saw Melissa Hill. Of course
not. We've said this many times on the show. I know I have. But it's not going to happen, Hiroki. You know why?
Oh, I know it's not going to happen. But
you know why? The system has the government, the court system has incentivized women, period, to become our enemy.
Oh, exactly. It's like, they won't acknowledge, trying to get basically conservatives and red pill dating coaches to acknowledge the metaphorical gun that you have to deal with whenever you interact with any woman on any level. Like, for instance, take Yeg United, right? Like, the person who runs that is well, she's like 20 or 21. They had their premiere. By the way, did you get a hold of her? Hello? V. I sent you the contact information for her. Did you get a hold of her?
I'm sorry, get a hold of who?
Yig United. I sent you the contact information for her.
No. I didn't see that.
Okay, I'll have to send it to you again. Yeah, because Jaffe's already gotten a hold of her because I saw that she was Yig United is now following Jaffe, so they're going to be setting something up there. But I mean, yeah, there's two girls that more or less are the head of it, right? And you know, I kind of get along with them. But at the same, it's like, but whenever I deal with them, I have to kind of like keep a distance with them, right? Like I have to keep everything very formal and very above board and not get too touchy or anything like that. And, you know, and I'm not doing it because I don't think these two girls are bad people, right? Because for I really don't know them all that well, but it's like, you know, but I mean, I have to kind of keep, like, basically whenever, like, and there's basically with any, even a woman that I'm pretty sure does like me, I have to be really careful in how I deal with them. Like, I don't, like, for instance, I don't move in on a woman unless I get IOIs above and beyond 100%. All right, like it can't be, and there's ways of doing that, but I mean, you know, it's like I can't, if it's in the gray area or if I get mixed messages or I'm not, she's basically making excuses to not see me or whatever, you know, like I will just drop her and move on to somebody else because I mean, I just can't take that chance. Now, and this is the big issue between MGTOW and the PUA community. The PUA community, and this is the part. I mean, Tate claims that he's not part of the PUA community, but I mean, you know, having listened to a little bit of Andrew Tate stuff, yeah, he's a member of the PUA community. Their issue is get in shape, get money, and the women will come. And it's like, no, you don't understand. And Trevor Bauer is a prime example of that, right? All that does is makes you a bigger target. I mean, look at what happened with PJ Washington and Brittany Renner. We talked about this on the show as well. Brittany Renner is going to be getting $200,000 a year off of PJ Washington. It's not $200,000 a month like it was initially thought. It's $200,000 a year until the kid is like 18 to 22. So yeah, she used PJ Washington to set up her retirement fund, basically. You know, like, if you're under the impression that yes, getting money, because I've been in situations where I've had it now, it gives you options that you don't normally, that you like, you know, like you like, and I had a situation this year where I had to exercise that option, right? If you get a shitty employer, right, you can just basically leave. You don't have to keep working for the asshole because you need the money. You don't have to take the abuse. The other issue on that is that you can kind of do what I did in August, where it's like you don't have to take the first job that comes along. You can wait for something that pays better, right? Because you've got the time, because you've got money in the bank, right? So yeah, there is that aspect to it, but I mean, it's like at the same time, and this is something that a lot of people, and this is me getting off a little bit on a bit of a soapbox about the manosphere. This is the issue that MGTOWs in particular have with the PUA red pill dating coach community is that these guys don't seem to want, or a lot of them don't seem to want to admit the metaphorical gun, right? And I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna keep saying this, and I don't care if people tell me that I'm paranoid. You know what, you want to call me paranoid? Fine, I'm paranoid, but you want to know what? I'm also right. You know, having a lot of money in this society just makes you a larger target. Now, is every woman a parasite? Is every woman a gold digger? No. Does the biology and the way things are set up mean that women have to prioritize personal safety more than men do? Yeah. But the way the laws are currently set up, they're so skewed, and the family courts and the divorce courts are so corrupt that, I mean, getting married is, and especially if you have a kid, I mean, basically you're forfeiting a huge amount of your rights over to the state. And I think all three of us will agree that forfeiting anything over to the state right now is probably not a good idea. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to V.
Yeah. Well, I am a PUA. Okay, I can admit that.
Well, so am I. I mean, I used to be a PUA too, right? But I mean, it's like.
Well, I've never not had a girlfriend. I've never not had a list of girls that I would just go out with all the time.
Piece of ass. Come on, say it. Just say it. You've had tail when you wanted, right?
Well, with my level of intelligence and the physique that I always kept, I mean, it was not a problem. I got my pick of the litter anywhere I went. Even when having my friends with me, I would often take my friends' girlfriends if there were no better options. I used to be that way. Okay, but anyhow, but the thing is, with the PUA thing, I tend to. I know I've talked about this before. I date up, so I don't have to deal with those parasite issues. I've always dated up. You know, girls' family's rich, she's rich, or she's what, I'm the boy toy in the situation. I always put myself in that situation. I'm the Black Bart. Okay? I don't have women chasing me after what I have. That's never been an issue. I usually don't have anything except for, my good looks, my charisma, etc. So it's the thing about that is dating up. Now, if you don't have that, men are being stupid. The women have gotten so far ahead. The government has co-opted this woman's empowerment thing because it enslaves men. The family court system is against men. Marriage laws against men. Rape, the false accusation, rape stuff, etc., 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 is there to enslave and break the will of man. So, people of, I don't know, political power or money and things like that aren't PUAs, these people need to get smart. Okay, they've gotten smart against men. But the men are just dumb, lagging behind. I don't even blame the women anymore because they don't make them like they used to. Okay, how long have I searched for a woman like my mother? You know, my mother came home from full-time job, okay, standing up on her feet, full-time job, come home, cook and clean, do my laundry, have time enough to make sure I've done my homework, and will watch TV with me until I went to sleep at night. I mean, the full package, full woman, right? I've been looking for that, and it doesn't exist. At least not from what I've come across. So what we have today is a different kind of women. They're not taught values. They're not taught any kind of work ethics. They're taught what you can get with what's between your legs and how to pretend to be a feminist. Okay? They're still lying. I would say the majority of these women are lying, snake, evil type of people. So what men need to do is to wise up with that. And I know if one day I get rich, whatever, if I get involved with a woman, guess what? She's going to sign an NDA before she even steps in my car. Okay? Can I get an amen? She's going to sign an NDA.
Amen. sorry. Not black enough. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm going to protect myself legally. Like, you can't sue me because everything has been assumed to be of consent. You got bruises around your neck. You have black eye. Oh, this contract says you like it rough. So that's what literally is going to have to be done. It blows my mind that these rich people, these famous people can get in these situations and end up in jail or have their money taken. It's called an NDA, ladies and gentlemen. Start using them. With that, I'll pass it on.
Amen. Okay. I did actually get caught up on this topic as it was on Joker's or Better Bachelor's podcast. And I'll have to look into this actually because the drummer of one of my favorite Canadian bands, Triumph, Gil Moore, he ended up being accused of raping a woman, and this was in the band's decline. The original guitarist left, creative differences. It was a shit show. That's what that was. And my mother and I talked about something similar when it was the lead singer of Billy Talent, I think it was. And I never cared for the band. That much I am going to say. And it was a case of he said, she said. And pretty much, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if the premise is that they both knew that this was going to be a hookup. He was needing, she wanted to bang some sort of a celebrity rock star, whatever. And then she turned around and it was a case of rape. And the guy basically said to the band, "Is like, all right, guys, I'll be out for a while. Sorry." And he had his legal mess to take care of. Look into that as well, too. And in terms of Renner, oh my God. Again, beautiful woman. It's not that I'm not attracted to black women. I just don't normally go for them. I wouldn't normally go for them. But she put out a tweet, Instagram post, whatever the fuck it was, And she was going, it's like, it's stepdaddy season. Oh my God. If she did this to PJ Washington and he was an athlete, if you're going to get involved with women like that, gentlemen, get yourself fixed and make sure you're firing blanks. Because if she's going to pull that crap, like, okay, sure, I'll be happy to submit myself to a DNA test and see how quickly she runs away from that one. Whoever she will be. And I'm glad for this gent that we're talking about. I don't remember his name. My apologies. But I'm glad that he, like you said, Naroki, I mean, for every one guy that can do this, there are probably about 19 to 20 of them that can't. And he basically admitted defeat in the sense that, yeah, he could sue her for defamation and, you know, wrongful this, that, and the other thing, and he'll probably win. Actually, he would win. I mean, the text that she sent to her 12-step sponsor, she told the sponsor what she was going to do, and the sponsor was like, this is not a good idea. She went fuck ahead and did it anyway. So, it's...
Oh, yeah, I totally forgot about that part. I'll get back to it when you're done.
Regardless, she was told this is not something you should be doing. She did it anyway. Young, dumb, and I guess she thinks that she needs to be filled with cum. I don't fucking know. I don't care. It's shit like this that goes on that is making me, one, be thankful that I'm getting older. And I realized that it will still attract a certain kind of female. But I don't want to be dealing with this kind of crap. I don't want to be dealing with this possibility. And I don't want to be looking around at females just kind of go, would she, oh, no. Just put the sunglasses on. And behind the sunglasses, yeah, you can look. But have the sunglasses on so she can't say that you're looking at her the wrong way and that she's going to fucking freaking out. I mean, this is beyond ridiculous. What is it? Bad or tough times make great men. Good times make terrible women.
It goes like this. Weak men create hard times create hard men. Hard men create good times create weak men. And then weak men create hard times. It's just a circle, right?
Yeah, it's a constant cycle of, low to high, high to low, and yeah, what goes up goes down, and it's cyclical. And I think that with the hard times, the tough times, you'll get a good woman. Now, I will say this much. Despite the differences that I am having I can say that my wife is still with me with all of the crap going on. And it's making this, and I'm still having some areas of doubt about being here. Well, I need to get out of the city that I'm living in and to go elsewhere for a better paying job. If she doesn't join me, then she doesn't join me. But, he's in Yokohama. He's still playing. You know what? Honestly, great. Good for him. I would say, honestly, stay there. Now, I don't know if Japanese women are going to be as Yokohama. I think that's the area around Tokyo where there's a lot of Koreans. I'll have to look into. Anyway. But I would say to him, just, stay where you are. Yeah, it's not America. It may not be the same, but you know what? They took you in. You're doing well to be there, to stay there. So do it. Enjoy it. But yeah, I mean, this only makes me concerned that when my time comes, that I'm doing better and I've got I have a better income stream than what I have right now, assuming I'm single. I have to be almost paranoid of any female that's going to express any sort of interest in me. Is it real? Is it memories? It's not quite like that, but it's going to be damn near close to it. I mean, I've talked about this, not the one that I was enamored over, but this little Filipina. Oh my God, she was fucking hot. And telling me to my face, we took a break, and I will never forget that moment for the rest of my life. She had said to me that I've got a Filipino boyfriend, and I just don't really want him. And I want to get boned by a white guy. I'm going, well. And when she said that to me, what immediately went through my head was, don't do it. Don't go there, because this could be a problem with HR. And there was
And it would have been a problem with HR, too. Continue.
Well, no, not really, because apparently she was one of the company bicycles. I'm aware of about 4 or 5 guys that she ended up getting fucked with, or she was fucking with. But at the time, I had the space, because the missus was overseas. Afterwards, after the wife came back, there was a work get together afterwards at one of the bars around work, and I was playing pool. She was there, and she kind of lined herself up in the corner pocket, just kind of it was one of those, oh good lord, good fucking lord. Now she is married to a ginger, so she got one of the whitest of white guys she could ever get. That's a Filipina thing. She's happy as far as I know, but my survival instinct really kicked in. This was before what happened with my brother as well, too. That hadn't even happened. So I'm at this point in our societal decline, men, I don't think, can ever be too paranoid at the end of the day. I don't want to say it that way, but that's really what it starts to boil down to. You can never be too paranoid, because you don't know. Yeah, I mean, she said, yeah, give it to me. Harder. Pull my hair. I've had a woman say that to me as well, too. God. And the next day she looked at me. She was loaded out of her tree. She fucking woke me up, and she asked me, "It's like, did we?" Yeah, because she was sore on her scalp, in between the legs, and she said, "What did we do?" And I said, "Well, you woke me up, fucked you, and you wanted your hair pulled and pulled hard, and then." I was raw dogging it, I will admit that. And then she had said to me, "It's like, well, where did you finish?" And I said, I pulled out. So I just went, "Oh, thank God." So that was the ends of BAM. So that was like 25. Yeah, that was easily 25 years ago. Now, to my knowledge, I only have the one kid, and that's enough. And that
well,
is
you're a very
more than
generous
enough.
man. You ended up giving her some jewelry. Pearl necklace?
No, she just she got squirted on the backside. It was just the way it was.
Oh, okay.
But she was
Pearls
kind of
for swine.
well, pearls on the swine. Yes, exactly. No, actually, V, I have to say, V, she was more your type. She was a bigger girl, but the chemistry was there between the two of us.
Oh, the chemistry and the recipes.
It could have been, but this is part of my experience that Roki didn't even know about this. I don't know. I've never told you about that. No, I don't remember telling you that at all, my friend. I mean, most of the stuff in my private life, I tend to keep that to myself. So, but again, with this baseball player, believe me, I'm glad that he got it. I'm glad that it was expensive for him, but his name, it brought to light how, yeah, I mean, and I have to go back to what Renner had said as well too, is that most jocks are fucking stupid, and they are. They really are. Yeah, they know what they're doing with their sport, but you get a hot female that's all lovey-dovey and hot to trot and whatever else. I mean, PJ Washington, I'm sure he's of average intelligence, or rather the testosterone, the dick thinking. But as more things like this occur, all it's going to do is, as Naroki has said, all this is going to do is it's just going to fuel men withdrawing and realizing the only way to win with the system stacked against you is to step out. And wedding planners are going out of business. Bridal shops are probably going out of business. I mean, society is built around having kids. So you've got the housing industry. You've got everything that goes with the house. You have to go shop at IKEA or whatever. You got to get the baby bed or the crib and the baby monitors and the diapers and the food, and you constantly have to get new clothes and. Marriage rates have plummeted. It's not quite at zero, but it's getting there. And I talked with a couple of guys from India, and the women over there are just as crazy as they are over here. Like the female brain, regardless of there'll be differences in culture overall, but the female brain from one end of the globe to the other, or one part of the planet to the other, same. Men are all the same, basically. Women are no different. So, my apologies for going off on tangents here, my friends, but that's what I've got to say on this one. And again, I'm just more my concern about what I want to do with myself when I become single it boils down to is she waiting for me at the beginning of the marathon? Oh, that was what I wanted to say as well too. Naroki, do you remember a commercial from Sun Life? I think it was like 20 years ago.
Freedom 55. Yeah, I remember those. No, not those ones.
No, not that one. Not that one. No, this was. He was past middle age. At best, he was middle age. He was he was participating in the marathon. Everybody else was gone except his wife being there. He was overweight, holding certainly peak physical shape. There aren't many females that will be there at the end when he came in dead last and everybody else went home.
I vaguely remember that commercial. Well, here's the really, and you've heard me talk about this. I mean, you heard me talk earlier in this topic about women that show up in my life. I mean, I don't go like, I mean, I don't dress up. I mean, I get criticized sometimes for wearing sweatpants and in jeans a lot. It's very rare that I will put on anything much more than that. Mm-hmm. A shirt, a hoodie, right? Like my uniform is pretty basic most of the time.
Yep.
Yet, and it does have the added bonus is that it scares away it doesn't attract the diggers.
It scares with the gold diggers. That's called for what they are.
Yeah, it keeps it doesn't attract the diggers. But I mean, I still, even though I'm not looking, right, I still get a lot of attention. But like I say, I have to approach things very, very carefully, right?
Mm-hmm. Because you don't know. You don't know if you're being recorded. You don't know who she is or what she's interested or what her motives are. So yeah, no, I don't blame you in the least. Not at all, actually. So
and well, I mean, you gotta be fucking careful, right? I mean,
mm-hmm.
Those ones that I was talking about earlier, right? There might be some chemistry between me and one or both of those, but I'm not going to go there unless I get absolute 100% IOI. Oh, by the way, V, I posted up the contact information for
IOI's intent of interest.
No, I posted up the contact information for you so you can get a hold of them to have them on your show. V, I'm sending it to you. But anyway, we're kind of getting off.
Yep.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, get a hold of them. So let's get on to the next topic here. The next topic, and again, we knew this was eventually going to happen. It was going to work its way up through the system. Well, guess what's happened? The whole YouTube censorship thing has finally, social media censorship thing has finally started to get up to the Supreme Court level. For one of the first things that was discovered is, and this was discovered years ago, and they've been playing both ends against the middle. If somebody is coming at them claiming that they've in different parts of the U.S., claiming that they're a platform and then somewhere else claiming that they're a publisher. And they're making the claim depending upon the situation. Now, 25 years ago, you might have been able to pull that off. Because, it would have been very, very difficult to track down a case, say, in Colorado and a case in Florida. I mean, you would have needed a contact in Florida, or say if you were in Colorado, you would have needed a contact in Florida, and you would have had to trust that person to do the work, to go and follow the simultaneous, if you even knew said case was even happening. what's happened now is that court cases, like all like court appearances and whatever, like everything is online. So you can go to any courthouse in the country and you can list off and you can see who is going to be on the docket that day. And you can also go through the court records and you can, and I found this out, for instance, there was an individual that I used to have a major problem with when I was a kid growing up. And I took, actually there's two of them, and I took really deep satisfaction with one of them in reading to basically, I didn't go through the whole testimony, but I actually got to read the report on him to see how much time he got sent to jail. And he, like I said, going back to topic number 3, right? The guy was an obnoxious asshole, and he did it to himself, right? He's not in jail anymore, obviously, but I mean, yeah. YouTube's been playing both ends against the middle, hoping that people won't check. They've been caught, and unfortunately, the further up the chain you go in the courts, the harder it becomes to play both ends against the middle. And the whole thing about YouTube censorship has now finally reached the level of the Supreme Court. Clarence Thomas is on the record, because he's the one bringing this particular case in, has pointed out that, YouTube, and we remember when we had Mr. David Harper on years ago, back when we were basically in like 30, 40, Red Pill Nation 30, 40, David Harper would talk about a platform versus, grumpy. Yeah, a platform versus a publisher, right? And he explained that. And it's like, one of the first things that Thomas pointed out is that, you're one or the other. Like, you cannot be both. And if you are a platform, then you cannot censor speech. You have to, unless it's a violation of the First Amendment, you cannot censor speech. And we knew this was coming, right? You cannot censor speech. You cannot deplatform people. You cannot take people offline because they don't agree with the government narrative or whatever. And by the way, you cannot be taking marching orders from Washington, D.C. or a branch of the government as to what can and cannot be posted up. The second part is, okay, well then you're a publisher. Well then you lose all of the freedoms that you get from being a platform. Like, you cannot be a publisher and have if you're a publisher, then you have to there's an entirely different set of rules. And part of those rules is that, you're not allowed to do certain, you can censor speech, but you don't get certain protections from the state for doing this. And the third part is, and this is the key part, and hold on, my throat's getting scratchy again. The third part is that, if you are a means of mass communication, which, as much as I hate to say it, Facebook, for instance, falls under this category, but YouTube also falls under this category to a certain extent, right? Like, the phone company cannot refuse to provide you with a phone number because they don't agree with your politics. The airplanes cannot, unless you are listed as a veteran. There's always exceptions to the rule, but basically, you cannot be turned down for a hotel room. Well, there was a case that we covered here just a few months back where Lawrence Southern's parents got turned down from an Airbnb because they happened to be Lawrence Southern's parents, right? That was a violation of the law, by the way. But yeah, you cannot turn somebody down for a hotel room, etc., because you don't like them or you don't like their politics, right? I mean, basically what it boils down to is that, and I mean, you can do this stuff. But yeah, like if you're going to be a publisher, then you have to follow it, and you don't get certain legal protections that you would get if you're a platform. And YouTube has been playing both ends against the middle for years now, and it has finally reached the level of the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court is, well, you know, it's got a conservative majority right now. I'm pretty sure that Clarence Thomas and at least maybe one other judge on the Supreme Court is well aware of the situation that is going on in terms of, again, right? You know, they had a situation here a few years ago where Sundar Pichai, who is the CEO of Google, came in, and you had these doddering people in Congress who didn't know too much about the internet asking questions that were like, you know, not very adroit about what the internet is doing. That is not the case anymore. You know, like the people in DC are very aware of how the internet works now, right? They're not gonna get fooled by some duplicitous activity being done. So yeah, the other issue is, and you never can fully tell which way the Supreme Court is going to go on this. I have a pretty good idea which way they're going to go on this. The issue here is that, you know, based on a Supreme Court ruling, certain things just bite the bullet. Cancel culture bites the bullet. You cannot put pressure on advertisers to pull their ads off a platform, because it's like, you know, it's like, well, you know, it's not up to us, right? You know, the platform has to allow this content on there, and, you know, sorry, our hands are tied, like withdrawing our ad revenue from a company when it's not even really their responsibility anymore. Sorry, can't do that. So yeah, this particular set, because they're doing one, I believe they're doing one for Florida and they're doing one for Texas, right? What this is going to emerge out as is that, you know, if this plays out, and I got a suspicion that they're going to try to push continuance after continuance after continuance so they can do this all the way up past the 2024 election if they can, is that they're going to lose the ability, or specifically Google and YouTube in particular, but this is going to apply to Facebook as well. It's also going to apply to Instagram. It's going to apply to all the major social media platforms. Twitter, or now X, Elon is treating it like it's his own personal toy. So there is still some censorship on there, although it's not nearly as bad as it used to be. And we're going to be doing something on the Krasensteins for 236. Oh, sorry, for 336, just so you know. But yeah, the only issue I have with this is that, I mean, the Supreme Court issued a statement over affirmative action, and several universities have decided to openly defy the court and not go along with it. And the courts don't really have legal authority right now to do anything about it because of the Biden administration. Is that they could make a ruling on this, and YouTube will just decide, YouTube and Facebook will just simply decide to go along with whatever the hell it is they're doing, because it isn't going, like, the courts don't have any way of enforcing it, right? Assuming that Trump gets elected in 2024, that will probably end as well. So yeah, looking kind of like when you take a step back and you look at the big picture and you look at what's happening with transgenderism, and oh yeah, by the way, folks, just a rather interesting little piece of information that fell across my desk. I didn't add it in as a topic, and I might not add it in for a while. Turns out the fat acceptance movement has been getting its funding from rather suspicious individuals as well. Food companies, pharmaceuticals, that type of thing, right? Encouraging people to not eat healthy, right? Because it helps their bottom line. So the fat acceptance movement is also not an organic thing either. But with that, I'm going to turn it over to V.
Yeah, it helps that bottom get real big. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say on this one either. I mean, you pretty much said it all. You know what I mean? When it comes to the censorship, okay, I'm actively working against the censorship. Like I said, I'll be in the States here in 2 days. Okay. I will be actually technically tomorrow. So I'm literally coming to the States to help spread word of my media, spread word of my platform, tlbtalk.com. I'm going to be adding the new features to the site, and basically I'm going to be dropping my colleges. Hey guys, want to beta test the site here? Doing presentations at every college I come across, every city I go to. It's going to spread. It's going to spread. We're going to talk about freedom of speech. So that's going to be a big thing. It's going to be a big thing. Now, my challenge is to make sure it doesn't mutate into something like Gab. But, that's me being a representative of TLB Talk should give people a hint that we're not going to allow Nazis just spew race hate propaganda, hate speech. I mean, that's the only thing. And really, that is the way to go about it, because, listen, it's a social network. The only thing that shouldn't be allowed on social networks is anti-social material, right? So if you're not being an anti-social a-hole, then your freedom of speech, you shouldn't have a problem. You shouldn't have a problem communicating with people, because that's the whole point. You mean antisocial? That's like going over someone's house, eating all the food in the refrigerator, sitting on their couch, changing the channel, and telling them to go F off. It's going to be your house, your rules, and we got to show ourselves as a better example than YouTube, Facebook, all that stuff. So that's the goal. Can't talk about the subject without saying that there's something better out there. tlbtalk.com. So look forward to seeing me in a town near you. All right.
Well, if you cross the Montana border, we'd love to see you, actually. and I don't think I can assume on Naroki's part either. So,
well, the last state I'm going to is Alaska, so I'm gonna have to go through Canada to get there.
Yeah, but you might end up going through BC or whatever. Yeah, I mean, if you come to Alberta, man, we'll make it. If you fly into Calgary, we'll make a trip and we'll go to Banff for the day.
That'd be
All
cool.
right.
Actually, yeah, no, that would be cool. Banff would definitely have to hit Lake Louise.
I'll be in the RV, so we can take the party anywhere. Yeah.
I don't know the women you like to party with. I've got to say no, but anyway, we'll leave that one alone. Anyway.
Yeah, just wait till you wake up one night and see who you got wrapped around your arms there.
Oh, well, well, as Terrence Pop put it, just as long as I don't give her as long as I don't give her the 10 deck, don't give her the 10 deck treatment. Just give her like the 5 or 6. That'll be enough. Not talking in terms of inches. I'm just talking in terms of just how far you can make her eyes roll to the back of her head. And I've made that mistake more than one occasion. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. And ladies and gentlemen, this is why I love having V on, because the banter between the three of us, the chemistry is there. Like, honestly, the chemistry is there. Oh, and then what we would have to do is we have to do a session or a podcast with the three of us in your RV and just the three of us face to face and just being ourselves. Oh, good God. We won't get much done, but that's beside the point. Anyway.
Well, we're going to have some beers and stuff. I'm gonna have a couple girls.
You two will be having beers. I won't be having any alcohol at all.
Well, I'll get you non-alcoholic beer. How about that?
Well, point being is we'll have plenty of place to put stuff. We'll have those girls with the butts. You can set a glass on.
Oh, that would be you.
Oh. That's all on you, man. That's all.
The umbrella holder. It's an umbrella holder and a glass holder.
Nope. Nope. Not gonna do it. Not going there. Not prudent.
Do you even have any of those girls in the the country there?
Okay, having a woman that weighs more than me and I'm already pushing it? No, thanks. No, that's just not. It's just not appealing. Anyway, question to ask you. But when it comes to any sort of releases from the Supreme Court, like, does it only seem to be Clarence Thomas that's actually saying anything anymore?
At this point, that's all I know.
Well, I don't mean for this case exclusively. I mean overall, because I haven't heard anything about Kavanaugh or Comey Barrett or Roberts.
Well, speaking of Clarence Thomas, he likes the big white girls too.
I don't fucking care about that.
Yeah, you see his wife? Yeah, he knows how to butter his bread.
You ass. Fuck.
I'm pointing it out.
It's all that you're pointing out. Anyway, no, like, in all seriousness, like, the only thing I think I've heard from the Supreme Court only seems to have been from Clarence Thomas. Like, with
I don't know. I haven't been, like I say, I haven't been following it very closely. So,
well, I haven't followed. I don't follow much about the from SCOTUS either. I mean, I've got enough going on in my life already as it is. I mean, to add to that level to it, it's a whole different matter. Anyway, I don't know. It just seems to be the only Supreme Court judge that's actually saying anything. Anyway, now, what will? Well, I guess the question will come down to now is, what does YouTube have to do with this? Well, I mean, obviously, figure out, are we this or are we that? And I get that. I get that part. My feeling about what YouTube is that they are a platform. They're not a publisher. They're a platform. And if that's the case, then I can only imagine the potential class action lawsuits that are going to be headed towards Alphabet over YouTube on this. Because, no, my apologies, Naruk, that I had to take care of some biological requirements or needs. But does this also not go against Google skewing searches, especially during election times for that matter? At that point, is Google a platform or is it a publisher? Because they've gone out of their way to make, much like Disney, to be as anti-Republican as possible. So, realistically speaking, I think this actually has greater implications because there are Republican candidates that would have gotten buried with the Google algorithm, with Google doing everything they can to censor non-rhinos. And I guess that's about the nicest way that I can say that. And I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if they're doing this right now against RFK Jr. for that matter. And if that's the case,
word has it RFK is going to be running as an independent, and if he does, that's going to basically kill Joe Biden.
Well, it's going to kill anything for the Democrat side anyway. Now, we're making the assumption, and yes, I've heard the same thing as well too, but we're making the assumption at this point that Biden's going to make it for the next election, which I know he won't. I've already said my points earlier tonight. He won't. The man's done. And if Trump becomes Speaker of the House, it's game over.
He would have to be elected to the Congress.
No.
Yes, you have to be sitting in the Congress to actually be the Speaker.
I had already said earlier that as far as I know, that's not a requirement. The tradition is that you're going to pull someone in from Congress. But Speaker of the House, you can nominate anybody. We'll have to look into that. Anyway, regardless of that, one way or the other. Like, the deeper question I have to ask is, will Alphabet get sued for the political chicanery that they have been very actively involved in, because they're both a publisher and a platform? I'm not expecting any answers from either of you. I'm just asking a more deeper question. And we'll see. We'll see what happens to Google at this point. So I will leave it at that. So what is it?
Hello?
Fuck.
What?
Oh, God. No, okay, I'm done. So let's move on to Robyn with a Y, Hood. Oh, my God.
Okay, all right. I forgot to mention something at the end of I was going to mention this about Melissa Hill being in a 12-step program. Yeah, one of the closest I ever came to relapsing was over a woman in the 12-step program who I'm thinking basically used me because she wanted attention from everybody else. So she played victim, and I was the last guy to find out about it, right? And what ended up happening, I find this rather ironic, is that at the time, since it's 2001, I did the right thing by accident and just basically said again after this one dance, I just left her a message on her answering machine saying, "Yeah, no, I don't. I think it's necessary. I think I have to basically pretty much stop talking to you, right? And if you want to talk to me, give me a call and we'll talk about it." And she called me up the following afternoon. She called me up and like basically screamed and yelled at me because basically I couldn't figure out why she was doing it at the time. But you know, I was working the night shift and she woke me up, and I remember this because it's only happened 3 times in my entire life where I have woken up and I was instantly angry. And I got back on the phone and I messaged her and I left her a rather angry message. And yeah, it was, but I mean, the level of, I was fortunate enough to have a backup program or 2 in place it wasn't done to be just in case something like this happened, because this is like 2001. But I mean, I had developed different support systems in my life at that point, because more or less because it was necessary for me to get, I didn't just want to have a 12-step point of view. So yeah, are there women in a 12-step program that are toxic? I am going to guess that with Melissa Hill. She was in the program, but I mean, she wasn't actually doing the things that are required for you to do in order to get and stay clean or sober. And so, yeah, when a 12-step sponsor said that probably was her only sponsor for like maybe a month or 2, and then she just stopped contacting him. But with that, let's get on to.
Well, hold on. I want to go ahead and back up Rearson here. I've got it right here. It says the Constitution does not explicitly require the Speaker to be an incumbent member of the House of Representatives, although every Speaker thus far has been. This is coming from Wikipedia.
Okay, so as I said, the tradition has been is that it's going to be picked from Congress. Okay. I don't want to. Okay. We'll wait and see what happens. That's all I'm going to say is we'll wait and see what happens. But that's my prediction. I'll leave it at that.
Okay, let me just get on here because we're at 2.5. We're almost at 2.5 here. All right. So, this one is so fun. Because this guy.
Okay. Before we go any further, my apologies for stepping in here and interrupt you. V, have you taken a look at Robyn with a Y Hood?
No, I have not watched it. I have no intention of watching it.
No.
Oh my God. I have watched a bit of it. I will.
Robyn with a Y Hood?
Robyn with a Y Hood. Yep. Oh,
okay.
Yeah. Oh,
Race swapped, gender swapped, politically correct as hell.
Oh, I can't wait to watch that. That sounds like fun.
Go ahead, gents.
Well, did anybody get upset when Michael Jackson wanted to play Peter Pan? Okay,
Jackson,
yeah, too soon?
Okay. Jackson at the time was an anomaly to say the least.
Yeah, that's the way to put it.
He was born black. He died white. Now I know about the breakdown of the melanin or whatever the hell is the black the pigment.
Yeah, vitiligo.
Yeah.
I actually had a touch of that when I was younger. I know how it is.
Anyway, Rocky, please continue. I want to.
Okay, so yeah,
you off this disaster.
It came out. And they were all right, and I heard about it when it came out, and it's like, well, there's one other show that I'm going to be glad I'm not going to be watching. The key point on that, though, is that, I mean, race swapped, gender swapped, and and they like literally said right off the bat, yep, the show's gonna tank, and some of the senior people on the production team are gonna try to play the race card or the misogyny card, right? And they're gonna get all butthurt, and they're gonna blame their poor ratings on IMDb or on Rotten Tomatoes on racism or whatever, right? Like they said this weeks before the show came out. Well, guess what happened?
Well, being that Robyn is actually a black woman this time, the angry nerd community is very upset. This will fail. Robyn Hood gets blacked. Look at him laughing. It's so funny.
No, it was kind of funny.
A black woman's going to be Robyn Hood. It's going to be horrible. How could black kids do Robyn Hood? Right? And these people tell you they're not racist.
What are you guys doing here, huh? Are you in the Ku Klux Klan?
This dude here put a black wizard with fried chicken and a gold necklace. Watch this.
Everybody must eat.
I'm very sorry this happened to you.
It's got a, and by the way, the lowest score you can get on IMDb is a 1. Like, it doesn't go, like, there's not a 0 star on IMDb. It got a 1.6 out of 10 at IMDb. Julian Christian Lutz, aka Director X, and you can just like look at that and you just know immediately what type of guy we're dealing with here. So with a director with a name like that, you already know what's coming, right? So I haven't seen the show, so I can't comment on it. But Mr. Director X, or Julian Christian Lutz went out and had a massive spurg out on TikTok, and you might want to be sitting down for this. He blames racism, misogyny, and you're gonna love this part, the manosphere. And I'm like, he blames incels and the manosphere. And it's like, are you fucking kidding me? All right, I know for a fact, because I listen to manosphere content, as does Rearson, on a regular basis. None of the major manosphere content creators went anywhere near the show. They didn't mention it. They didn't notice. They didn't care, right? He also pointed out, why are all these people from the U.S. and Britain doing it? And it's like, this just tells you how stupid this guy is. The earlier on, when people were asking him about the show, he goes, well, get a VPN, you can watch it that way. And it's like, and then when he gets these shit ratings from non-Canadian sources for his show, he starts complaining, well, why are all these people, they haven't even watched the show? And it's like, dude, 5 days earlier, you were telling people that if they weren't in Canada and wanted to watch the show, you can get a VPN. And now you're dismissing the idea of a VPN because your show is getting a lot of ratings from outside of Canada, basically telling you the show is shit. And you're dismissing it. And instead of shutting up at that point, even though he was like literally on his own thread, shown where he had talked about this, he doubled the fuck down. Now, I am currently looking at his profile now, and it's like it appears as though he has actually it finally dawned on him that he shouldn't be doing that. And he's finally shut up because he's realized that. I mean, he stuck his foot in his mouth. But I mean, let's just get into the actual show itself. And again, I haven't seen it, so my criticisms of the show are going to be somewhat limited. Okay, he culturally appropriated an English legend. He not only race swapped the character, he gender swapped it. And again, I've seen stuff. I mean, I remember a show growing up as a kid called Robyn Hood, right? So it has been.
Oh, I loved that show. I really did.
Yeah, so I mean, I have seen that. I mean, I've seen people do stuff like this before, and if they had done just that, it probably might not have been all that bad. But I mean, he's getting bombed, and it's like they're like, and we're talking about Nerdrotic and Yellow Flash and Ryan Kinnell and that and Critical Drinker and all of those individuals, right? They watch the show and they're like saying, yeah, it's woke as fuck. You know, now at this point, and I know this because I've heard significant people in Hollywood say that they are aware of Get Woke, Go Broke. Right? It's everybody, like all of the studios and whatnot in Hollywood. There are people inside the Hollywood system that are aware of Get Woke, Go Broke. There's people, everybody in the film industry knows. Right? It's not necessarily true. There have been exceptions. The Barbie movie, Handmaid's Tale, Captain Marvel. There's been a few exceptions to that rule. Now, every once in a while, one of these shows actually captures lightning in a bottle and is actually able to stick. But for the most part, most of these shows just tank terribly because they cannot just, I mean, what ended up happening, for instance, what ended up happening with Handmaid's Tale, from my understanding, because I've never watched it, is that despite the predilections and the showrunner for Handmaid's Tale is a diehard misandric man-hating feminist, you know, she had enough brains to not get on a soapbox and concentrate on telling the story. Now, if you're going to and it's been done before, Star Wars, in fact, is a different version of Akira Kurosaki's The Mighty Fortress, Fistful of Dollars, and yeah, Yojimbo has been done twice over. Like Kiyosaki stuff has been done multiple times in multiple genres. It has been Americanized. So I mean, it's not like this stuff hasn't been done before. But if you're gonna do it, you know, make sure that you're doing it in a way that is going to actually pay tribute to the actual original creator. Don't just do it and then start dissing white people and having all of the bad guys be white and have all of the, and gender swap to boot, and then get up on a soapbox, have all the good guys be black and all the bad people be white. When you're over, and yeah, again, I gotta keep pointing this out. Culturally appropriating British culture which is, by the way, white as fuck. And if you're going to do that, you got to have a good story. And he obviously doesn't have a good story. And he's obviously got his head shoved so far up his ass that he gets high off his own farts, because he gives himself an edgy title like Director X. You know, by the way, I actually found a photo of him at, and you're going to love this, Pearson, the Banff Film Festival.
Oh my God, he was in the area? Fuck! Shit. Bastard.
Yeah,
Well,
he was in Banff.
He was probably up at the Banff Center, and well, I don't know how woke they are up there. I wouldn't be surprised if they were.
Oh,
anyway.
woke AF is probably the motto up there. I almost ended up working up there a couple of times myself. The whole situation is just, like, but I mean, it's the third thing that I gotta point out here, though, is like blaming, like being so high on your own farts that you actually blame the manosphere, when in fact nobody, and I gotta emphasize this entirely, nobody in the manosphere ever, and I do mean ever, mentioned this show in any capacity. And I don't know what else this guy has done, but he wow, like, sorry, like, there's stupid, and then there's just like special kind of stupid. And it's like, gee, sorry, you know what, if you're gonna do what you did, here's what's gonna happen. The show's not gonna work. The pattern has played out so often now that they know the tact you're gonna try and pull if it doesn't work out, and you literally did it almost word for word, and then when you got caught doing it, like, the show just tanked, right? And it's like, what can I tell you, man? You did it to yourself, Mr. Lutz. And if you don't like what you're being told, well, that's too bad.
It's Director X to you.
It's Director X. Anyway, so yeah, here's another one of these guys that is not gonna, because we talked about this last week when the writers, Canada is also, the film industry in Canada is also going to have to scale back at some point, because they definitely don't have the money in Canada to do the same level of shows that they do in the US. So yeah, ironically enough, so here's Justin Trudeau attempting to corral social media and alt media and alt entertainment. And what does Hollywood go and do is that they go, and because of the writer and actor strike, they've had to cut back on the number of shows that they're producing. Ergo, they have created an opening for alt media and alt entertainment to exploit. So yeah, well, I can't help but gloat a little bit as these people continue to take a brick to their testicles and keep hitting themselves with it in their private, and then blaming anybody else other than themselves for their own miserable failures. I mean, you know, anybody, and I've met individuals like this in the film industry. There are a couple people like this in film school who kind of carried themselves as though they were going to be the next best thing. And you know what? Every once in a while, one of these people comes out of film school and does end up being the next best thing. But a lot of times that doesn't happen, right? I've met a lot of people in the film industry that are like that. This guy got a little bit luckier. He knew how to play the game a little bit better. He got up to a certain level where he's making a living at it. But I mean, again, right? Like the moment you name yourself Director X, you know, that says a lot about what you're like as a person, and it's not to any surprise that he doubled down to the point of epic fucking stupidity. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to V.
Well, I'm going to be Director B. How about that? Well, technically I am already a director. Yeah, well, I don't know. Once again, it's just something I've already said. I don't know. Do you want entertainment? Go watch the movies. Do you want accuracy, historical accuracy? Go watch the documentary. People need to work. People need to eat. I don't know. Nobody got pissed off with Dave Chappelle, Men in Tights, right? Oh, but he wasn't the main character, so that's all I gotta say about that. Go ahead, Roost.
Okay, well, I've actually watched a bit of this, and the gentleman that I love to watch is on YouTube is Despero, which is part of the Critical Drinkers. And the Critical Drinker brought up Robyn Hood, and Despero just about lost his fucking mind on it. Gents, I'm going to send you the link for the trailer, and I've watched a bit of this, and I'm going to say this right now. Despero was going on for about, he had a 50 minute video. I could only handle being insulted for about 8 minutes. Sorry, not insulted. Assaulted. My intelligence was assaulted by his comedic takedown. Now, so I'm going to ask the two of you to watch it. And I'm going to wait here. I'm just going to ramble on a little bit here. So it's in Canada. So it takes place in Canada. I don't know where exactly it's filmed. It's either going to be in Vancouver or it's going to be in Toronto, just because of the overall ease of it. Now, not only is she race swapped and gender swapped, but her sexual identity is that she is bisexual.
No. That's totally didn't expect that to happen. It's totally unexpected for a guy named Director X who's full of himself to do something like that. No, that's just totally a coincidence. Continue, Rearson.
Okay, so actually, Naroki, my question now is directed to you, since you are in law enforcement to some degree or another, or you're an LPO. Can you do whatever you want on private property?
No, you cannot.
I really imagine that.
I mean,
okay.
from a strictly legal percentage, I mean,
perspective,
if you're on private property, you can make someone leave that property. Because I saw a security guard that tried pulling this at West Edmonton Mall. God, that was like 3-4 years ago now. And I had to remind the head of security at this particular mall that, I mean, you had the legal right to do it. That doesn't protect you from that. Just remember, if you do so without justification, you open yourself up to a lawsuit, right?
Okay. Yeah, because Robyn with a Y because you're going to be eating at the Y, or she likes being eaten at the Y. Oh God. Oh. Okay. V, are you watching the trailer right now?
I'm not watching anything.
No.
Okay, I'm going to ask for the two of you to actually watch this.
Okay, we'll do it at the end of the show because we're in the middle of a show right now. So
okay, so Robyn, because I don't want to keep saying Robyn with a Y. Robyn, she's got a sister, and raised by a single black mother.
Of course, what a shocker!
In the hood. Oh God. The white part of my brain just was absolutely reeling, even just watching the first 30, not even the first 10 fucking seconds. So my opinion is that Director X had aspirations that he wanted to be a director for fucking music, like rap videos and shit. Because part of what they do is that they break into these tall towers, which are not really too far away from where they live. They record themselves, and the masks that they wear, which looks like glorified freaking glow sticks, you know the type you snap and it glows, or it's going to be LEDs, whatever. They record themselves breaking into a condominium complex that's under construction, which isn't too far away from the hood, and that's what they call themselves as a rap band or R&B. I don't know what the fuck it is anymore. Pardon me for being white. I make no apologies. And it's like Despair was called it. It's the worst show, but it's the best comedy, just because of how bad it is. Like, it is so bad it's good in what you don't want to do for. This would actually be a great case of, all right, kids, or like the Vancouver Film School that you went to, Norking. This would be a great case of, so what's wrong with this? Come with an open mind and whatever else. And I don't know who at the time Shaw, my former employer, now this is part of Shaw Media, not Shaw Communications, but still part of the overall corporate umbrella. And I haven't worked there in fucking 7 years. Anyway, I guess he thought that he could do the next, he would be able to indirectly make the next Vikings, but it was only going to be twisted around 2.5 times. As being bisexual isn't a complete turn, it's only a half turn. I'll leave my logic there. And oh fuck. And you do see Sherwood Forest, but it's a street sign. Sherwood Street, Forest Avenue, or whatever the case may be. And it's like, oh, really? Well, okay, well, I guess you have to go there just because of the name recognition. And they're in New Nottingham, and the law enforcement is white. And the person that's in charge of the police department, well, it's a she, and she's a ginger. And they deploy a drone, and the drone gets shot down by fucking pool balls, like a pool table on a homemade, I can't even really call it a crossbow, but I'm sure that's basically what it was, or a glorified slingshot with a long runway before it goes off. And V, I think this would even insult your intelligence, and I know you're a really intelligent guy, but I'm sure you would even watch this just kind of. I hate the police. Oh my God, there's just so much. My opinion is that there's so much wrong with this. It's not funny.
You can try to insult my intelligence all you want. Don't insult my blackness. Damn it.
Did I bring your blackness into this conversation? No, I didn't. But oh yeah.
Go ahead. I'm waiting to get angry. I'm waiting to get
I'm not angry. I'm not angry. Believe me, I'm not angry. I'm just watching this whole thing, just kind of going, dude. I don't know what white bitch you fucked that shot.
Oh my God! If you're just listening to the background, I'm like, and this guy takes himself way too seriously.
Oh, he does. He does. He's trying. Okay. I'm gonna put it this way. He's simping for the black community so hard for the white people that I don't need to say any more than that. I really don't. I mean, I've watched, like I said, I watched about 8 minutes out of 50. And I had to stop. I mean, the British guy that was taking the fall for this show, and he was ripping this show a new asshole because it needs to be done. I'm sorry, but it does.
The critical drinker?
No, just Pharaoh. And he has ripped into Ahsoka like you wouldn't believe. Oh, he's ripped Ahsoka a new asshole. Because you know my style of humor, my sense of humor. I'm very British in my humor. Even though I'm not. But I had to turn this off because it was hurting my fucking intellect. It really was. I'm like, I can't fucking stand this. And Director X wanted to talk to, was it Heels versus Babyface, another YouTuber, British. And Heels versus Babyface, or AC, as he's on the Critical Drinkers group of friends. He wanted to make that conversation private because he didn't want this to go public. And I'll give him a lot of credit, and I'll throw that in as well too, for the two of you to watch. But he tried to stay above board. So this whole thing about this being, the British don't like it and blah blah blah, and it's like, dude, you wrote a piece of shit. You really did. And again, I don't know what he did. I don't know how he was able to push his reimagined version of Robyn Hood. Now, Canada at one point was one of the last British colonies up until 81, when we were mostly able to sign over our own ability to govern ourselves. And I remember that day. We were all in the gymnasium, and my grade 4 teacher, he was the best teacher, one of the best teachers I've ever had. Anyway, it's just, I can't get angry over this V because it is just so awful. I cannot get angry over Ahsoka because it is just absolute fucking trash. And we'll have to do something on that soon enough as well too. But I don't even know where to start with this one. Yes. So if you want to watch this garbage, you're gonna have to get VPN to dial into global. I'll figure out how you're gonna watch it, or pirate it. I don't know. I'm sure it's pirated out there somewhere. The Pirate Bay or wherever else. Now, within the Canadian top whatever. This show came in either between the first episode or the second. Ultimately, I think it was the first one. It came in at number 29. Now, there's a lot of competition within the Canadian, what remains of the Canadian cable shows. And believe me, CTV, which is probably the biggest one of all of them, because there's CTV, there's Global, and there's the CBC, and that's basically about it. Global is now part of Rogers, when Rogers bought Shaw. It's just a big, it was the big kerfuffle. But anyway, CTV overall bought, Bell Media, which owns CTV. They have spent. American broadcasters make more money for shows being broadcast into Canada than what they get nationally, shall we say. So there's a lot of competition, a lot. This show basically came in at 29 or 30 out of, I don't know how many fucking shows there are at the time. So didn't make the top 10, didn't make the top 20, and just eked into the bottom 10 of 30. Now, he's got ambition, or at least he did. He's got a story to tell, which I'm not part of the villainy. I'm just not. I do my best to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. I do my But if you're going to be saying something about something that either I haven't experienced and I'm starting to now, just because, I'm white, I'm straight, I'm male, and I was born Catholic. Hate me or love me for it, I don't care. What goes on in this show, I cannot relate to. I don't relate to, because I was part of a family that was hardworking for being middle class at the time, and it still is. If my parents were together and if, whatever else. Now, here's another thing as well, too, is that, Robyn and her friends were breaking into private property, filming themselves, and basically kind of showing where they are, where they live. They eventually get tracked down, but she comes home early enough in the morning. Her mom's up. And her mother basically says, "Oh, are you out again? Well, next time replenish your stock of condoms, because there's a big fucking jar in the kitchen. Just take a handful." And it's like, wow. So Robyn, not only is Robyn female, not only is she black, not only is she bisexual, but it sounds like she fucking gets around she's been around the block more than a few fucking times. Slut. Yeah, I know.
I gotta point out here, body count doesn't matter. Really, body count doesn't matter, then why don't you go right up front about it then if it doesn't matter? Continue.
Well, what else do you want me to say? I mean, it's just it hurts me to watch this. It really does.
Slut.
Sloot. What do you make your Dutch? What's your last name? I'm Robyn Van Sloot. How did you get that? Oh, my mother just fucked a few Dutch guys. I don't know what happened. I don't know, whatever. So it's it's not even the road to hell is paved with the best of intentions. This one was doomed right from the fucking beginning, because there were so many blue check marks with this show that anybody with half a brain, I guess, which really just shows what doesn't fucking happen in Shaw Media. I don't know. Again, I don't work for the company anymore. But I mean, if this is what I don't know what decision-making processes were in place with Shaw Media. Actually, think about it. He probably got quite a bit of money or government funding to do this as well too. Because I can't think of any other way that he could pull this off. Now, I don't know what else he's done in the past, and I will admit, I don't give a shit. I really don't fucking care.
Oh, he's Director X.
Yeah, in Japan there's a program called Dr. X. And she's kind of hot. I mean, she's in her middle age, and I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't pursue her, but I wouldn't say no. But Director X, I suppose he has the he was probably inspired somehow, somewhere by Malcolm X. So, all I'm going to say, Naroki, is you brought this upon yourself. You really did. And it's not very often that I'm actually this prepared for a topic, but this one is just, it's sad. Now, am I going to watch episode 2? Nope. My opinion of the intro, this is absolutely great of what I think, like I said again, I think he had aspirations of being a director for music videos, and it just didn't fucking pan out somehow in Toronto. I'll just arbitrarily say Toronto just because I don't know where it is.
Come on, black man. Stay with those booty popping videos. You can't aspire to do anything else. What's wrong with you? Get your darkies and put them in the booty shorts. Put that jungle music on and let them pop that booty. Come on, where? Come on, evil white man. Where's your sense of white guilt? Come on.
I don't have
Show your support, damn it.
I have none. None at all. Oh my God.
You disappoint me.
I mean, I will give him credit for being creative. I will give him credit for thinking that he could do something to elevate society in some form or another. I don't know, but Director Erskine kind of went, "Oh, really? Okay." This is where I start to pigeonhole you into these overall categories, and I'm going to take these pegs out as I see more and more crap. So. Oh, fuck. Like, I really wish we didn't have to have this as a topic. I do. I really do. Now, for context, I cut cable about 5 years ago. 6 years ago. It was about no more than 6 years ago. About a year after I stopped working for Shaw. I don't miss it. I do not miss it. I've got, that was my plan. I think I'm on 600 megs a second for my down. I've got unlimited data. I've got my computer. The wife's got my old computer, and I got a relatively new computer for my son. So we're watching our own things. We're doing our own things, and we're all independent, and I'm working from home. So this kind of show is at best a frivolous luxury that I really don't need at the end of the day. And we do have the carriage fees here in Canada as well too, which Global is a part of that. So they've got their dedicated 1.5 hours of news time, 5:30 to 7, and then 10 to 11 for the evening news or the nightly news, plus the noon hour and occasionally and whatever you may see on for the morning shows. But I don't think he's going to be able to recover from this, creatively speaking. I wish him well. I really do. Maybe he can find something that's going to resonate more properly, that a lot of other people are going to feel it, rather than it being exclusively, I can't say race-based. I just can't. Like, I'm past that point. With certain skin tones that tend to be darker than. So anyway, fuck. Now I've only sent you a 1 minute trailer, so I do want to get your reactions to this afterwards. So Naroki, I've exhausted this one to this point. So moving on.
Okay, well, we've only got one more topic left, and yeah, I'm fading out fast here. So, all right, well, this one, I mean, I'm just gonna say it. You know what? I am just going to say this. The FBI effectively needs to be gutted. They probably have needed to be gutted for a very, very long time. But I mean, it's very clear that, I mean, you know, based upon the fact that the current administration is using the FBI to persecute their political rivals, which is, by the way, something that you see in banana republics. You don't see that happen in the West, right? You know, for instance, and this is, I find this very odd because we will be covering the Israel-Hamas situation on the next show. They're trying everything they can to try to tie Trump and try to blame Trump for the situation that's going on in Israel right now. Like just reaching. And, you know, they've already labeled the Manosphere as extremist content, but now they've taken it to a whole new level, and they have decided to label MAGA. So, oh yeah, and they've also gone after parents protesting transgender ideology being brought into school as extremist content. They have brought in but now they've gone so far as to label anybody who supports MAGA as an extremist. And Hillary Clinton, and I can't believe I'm saying this, I thank every single day that she did not win the presidency in 2016. I don't think the country would. I mean, if they had Hillary Clinton and then Joe Biden, or if they had 8 years of Hillary Clinton, I don't think there would be a country left at this point. But she suggested that they get, and this is something that I'm starting to run into more and more, because this is something that Jordan Peterson is also having to deal with: re-education. You know, I'm hearing that term getting thrown around a lot. Yep, this is what the U.S. is attempting to do. In Canada, what they're trying to do is they're trying to corral the information as best they can to at least give Trudeau something resembling a fighting chance before he has to call the next election. Here's the thing. There's a very strong possibility that Trudeau might not make it through to the end, might not make it through the 2025-2026, especially if Jagmeet Singh is ousted as leader of the NDP, and that is a very, even given the leftist predilections of the New Democrat Party, you know, there have got to be individuals inside the NDP that are just getting sick of the fact that Jagmeet Singh just keeps being Trudeau's bitch. I mean, without Jagmeet Singh, Trudeau would not be able to do a lot of the things that he's currently doing. But getting back to this, I mean, suggesting that anybody who doesn't hold your same political opinion has to go to re-education or is being labeled as an extremist threat to the government, and they're actually serious about this. I mean, wow. Remember when I was talking about, when we're talking about next week about, and I posted up the shit map for San Francisco in the feed, even though that's not going to be till next week. The whole thing with this is that, you know, I mean, you're seeing stuff like re-education and labeling anybody who doesn't agree with the government as an extremist. You know, anti-vaxxers are extremists. If you protest, if you protest transgender ideology, so it's like it's one after the other, and it's sort of like, and again, each time they expand like this, that means they have to expend more resources to go after this particular group of individuals. So it's like, you know, at some point, I mean, and this goes back to Noam Chomsky, because Noam Chomsky was talking about how the U.S. was effectively a failed state 10 years ago. And, you know, at this point, and it's like what Joe Rogan was saying about San Francisco, at what point has the damage gotten so bad that you basically just have to throw everything out and start all over again? And by the way, Build Back Better, that fits entirely with the Build Back Better plan, right? Make things so shitty, make things so bad, artificially, by the way, that people will go to the government to help them out of it. Create the problem and then offer them the solution. Where have we heard all that before? And with that, I'm going to turn it over to V, and we are past the 3-hour mark, so we are way past finish time here.
Well, you know, my platform, get rid of the feds. That's been my platform since day one. Since these corrupt criminals, secret government, shadow government, a-holes want to target me. Now, you know, of course, again, as I mentioned in the show earlier, these criminals, they have to get ahead of what they're going to see as a problem in the future. Things are starting to roll. People are starting to wake up. Things are, you know, there's a lot of people who are just tired of the BS. Don't want to put up with it anymore. So this is one of those things, getting ahead of the issue. Now, if it's one way to really affect and control the election, right? You vote for Trump, you're a terrorist. Now, there's some people that will actually believe that. There's some people that will actually live that reality. And for most people who are of reasonable and sound mind, of course, they're not going to pay attention to such a thing, but examples will be made of certain people. People will become targeted. And it's a fear campaign. So, again, they can't rig the election like they did last time. There's too many eyeballs on this thing. You know, you can only pull the trick so many times, right? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, right? Shame on you, shame on me. So it's psychological, okay? Most people need to understand this is psychological. This is psychological warfare. This is being called a MAGA supporter, being called a terrorist. No, I hope, and this is really what should happen, and I hope it happens, that people take that on as a challenge from the government, okay? Take that on as a challenge. Yeah, call me a terrorist. See what happens. A real American would think that way. A real American is ready. A real patriot is ready for their government to start throwing labels around so that we can remove these criminals. Oh, there's so many things I want to call them, but I'll just leave it at criminals. Feds, FBI, of course, anybody who knows anything about my media knows that I'm exposing a lot of their crap. Exposing. Again, my campaign, free speech, growing a platform, especially where I will be heard. So I plan on taking these fools to world court. Okay? We're talking church committee, part 2. We're talking Geneva Convention. But I'm talking pulling out all the stops. So with technology that these people are using, that's illegal. I gotta do something. But yeah, somebody like me will be called a terrorist. And in the future, they're gonna find a way to make the stuff stick. Now, I can't wait till I have enough capital, and if somebody does do that, we're gonna have a defamation lawsuit on our hands here. If I can catch it. Because most of the time, again, when you're targeted, these covert situations happen, they'll literally put somebody within your friend's network or family network or your work network to start spreading rumors about you, and then they'll dip out. It's hard to trace this kind of stuff. They have trained InfraGard people that do this kind of stuff when they target people. But calling, if you're called out, I'd say wear it like a badge of honor. And you start getting with other people who are going through the same, and start collective movement. Actually build build an infrastructure, build something that has power, some kind of organization, something. That's what it should happen every time the government wants to come up with labels, to label somebody. Somebody needs to own that label and start building up against the government. They want to play these games, they need to start backfiring. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes, I say. So, I'm not a MAGA person per se. I'm really just an anarcho-capitalist. I would like for people to put their money where their mouth is. Put their money towards freedom. Instead of feeding a system that is broken and wants to enslave everybody. I guess that would make me more of a moderate. I don't know. I have no idea. But for anybody who wants to call himself MAGA, I have full support you. Go right ahead. Sure. If that's the new word for terrorist, then hey, I'm right there with you. And with that, I'll pass on to Rierson.
Take us out, Rierson.
I'll try to be more quicker this time. I remember getting to a discussion with someone about, I think it was around the time of Greta Thunberg, whatever the fuck her name is. And they were, I think it was somebody like Al Gore, I can't fucking remember who it was. But he at least had said that about re-education camps. Really? Now, I don't necessarily agree with Andrew Tate. I don't necessarily agree with a lot of what's going on the left. I certainly don't agree with the initial premise of the Barbie movie. But, you know what? I have really only one option for those people, or for those platforms, devices, whatever. Well, two. I can participate, or I turn my back and I walk away and they won't make any money off of me. Now, again, and just like with Disney as well, too. I'm done. I'm absolutely done with their crap. So, at the end of the day, I can pay them the attention that they're looking for, that perhaps they need, and perhaps what they believe in is something that could be justified. I don't know. It all depends on what the political flavor of the moment is. Not even the flavor of the day or the flavor of the week. Now, I'm going to go back a little bit more with JFK when he had wanted to break up the CIA into 1,000 pieces and shatter it to the four winds, shall we say. Now, I can guarantee you, with him saying that publicly, easily gave him a target that they needed to take out. I mean, the intelligence agencies, when they are first created, are, I would say, should have been created with the best of intentions, but human ambition and ultimately corruption, for those that have really become not incredibly ambitious, but extremely ambitious, that they will want to mold society as how they see fit. George Soros being one of the people that we can point the finger to, that we have pointed to many, many times. And again, he has gone on record to basically say, my greatest crowning achievement will be basically the downfall. I want to be the architect of the downfall of America. And this is kind of what we're looking at right now. So now let's not forget that all of this is only possible because Obama had changed or allowed for propaganda to be turned against its own population again. It's something that was repealed, something that was put in place or stop guarded, that was it was before World War II, I believe. Or it was after World War II. Anyway, it's just more, like it was said, it's more government interference on the day-to-day lives of average Americans that don't need to be dealing with any more of this crap. Any more of this shit. I mean, God, there's more than enough government. Did you pay your taxes? Did you pay your, did we take enough taxes off of you for your payroll? Okay, great. So then we're going to take more taxes off of you by everything you purchase. And then there's going to be fees, and there's going to be this, and there's a fee for that, and I know V is not going to disagree with me on this one. I mean, we're all virtual slaves to the system that we're in right now in North America, much less Europe, pretty much everywhere around the world. So, trying to find further a movement of people that have had enough, and like Trump or hate him, doesn't matter to me one way or the other. But at the end of the day, he wants to turn this country around to make it something bigger and better than what it is currently, because he knows that they can do better. I don't see that happening in Canada. I don't see that happening in Britain. I don't see that happening anywhere within any first world countries anymore. Like the sense and the spirit of nationalism, the feeling that, yes, we can do better. The manifest destiny of America, like it or hate it, and I know that it's overall reviled around the world, but whatever. But it was something that the population got behind. But, oh, fuck. But then again, that's also part and parcel with not letting the current constantly devalued through even a modest 2% inflation. I mean, they're saying that when a dollar was worth $1, it's only worth 2 cents now. I think it's even worth not even a cent at this point in time, just because of the continual decrease in what you can buy for $1. Now, does the CIA and every other agency that's connected to them that have the desire to keep everybody suppressed, do they want people to think about this? No, they don't. They want to keep everybody distracted with wine and circus, shall we say. No, sorry, bread and circus. So you've got the TV programs, and you've got stupid crap like Robyn with a Y hood, and fucking whatever else. So they don't actually start to take stock of where they are and what they are, which is basically modern day slavery. Just my opinion. I could be wrong. But for the powers that be to get upset with people that want to have a chance at a genuine better life, yeah, I could see where the control freaks of the CIA at the upper echelons, not the rank and file, or with the FBI or the NSA or fuck whatever other 3-letter agency that's out there in America. But the people that want to, but the individuals at the top that want to keep people dumbed down and stupid, do they see MAGA as the threat? Absolutely they do. And if I was in their position, I'd be reacting, I would be, but I'm not. But I would be. And they are the ones that have the most to lose, because once people start to wake up and really, my opinion is to see what's going on, yeah, there's going to be hell to pay. So I suppose the million-dollar question at the end of the day is, are you going to continue to allow what's going to happen with how bad things are right now? Or, and we know this won't happen, but ideally you admit defeat and then you let something else come in. And humans are notorious for holding on to the very end. In the event that they might actually win, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And I don't think that this is going to be one of those times that they're going to win. I really don't. So, gentlemen, I will leave it at that. Naroki, anything else you want to do before we sign out for this one?
No, I'm actually ready. Because I managed to finally turn night back into night and day back into day. Mm-hmm. I went to bed at like 10 o'clock last night. So, yeah.
Oh, okay,
but
cool.
Before you, because this is why I didn't answer the phone when you called. And yeah, unlike you, I have the luxury of having my phone in another room, and it's done on purpose so that I don't get woken up by my phone. If it's a really important call,
Oh, I got something I need to tell you, and it won't take that long. So after we're done here, there's something I do need to let you know about that I found out indirectly.
All right. Yep. So yeah, we're done for tonight. Thank you very much. 3.5 hours. We're gonna just letting you know. I'm gonna start striving here. I mean, it's been getting busy lately. Like it just seems as though I could have added in, like I could have done 2 episodes again this week. I chose not to, but I mean it was a grind just putting it at 7, and it's Monday night and I'm already at 4 for next week already. So, but those of you who don't know, Patreon is Rookie 5, subscribe to us, Redfield Nation, BitChute, Brighteon, Rumble, Odyssey, MGTOW TV. I'm at YouTube, Facebook, Minds, MeWe, Gab, TLB Talks, and Getter. No, I do have a Twitter account, but I don't have a Twitter account set up specifically for this show right now at the moment. I will probably eventually get one. But that is it for tonight.